Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was a wolf ninja of Konoha. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by writer D. Wolf and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Uzumaki Naruto. Genin and most unpredictable ninja of Konoha, Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Kitsune and son of the Yondaime Hokage and the heir of the Uzumaki clan, you'd think he'd have a good life in his home based of his heritage. Sadly, this was not the life of the boy, since he was born people called for his death based off the fact he held something he had no control over. Throughout his life he suffered at the hands of the villagers, who had lost their loved ones when the Kyuubi attacked, seeing him as a symbol that the beast still lived, while they were left with an empty feeling in their hearts. The Sandaime Hokage did what he could to help Naruto, but only did the bare minimum, as Naruto was labored by the villagers physically and mentally, much more than any child should have. As a result, Naruto quickly learned to survive by acting, since if you look beaten up, broken people hit you less. In a way, it was sad that a boy was forced to grow up when he was still but a child, but in the ninja world that they lived in, it may have happened across the lands. Naruto himself developed a mask for himself and a habit of hiding his strength from others so as to protect himself. His mask also helped with his acting that improved over time and got even better when he eventually joined the academy. Where Naruto was the smartest ninja there, but hid all talent as he knew all his work would be sabotaged. It was in the Forest of Death that he found a place that was a small haven, as animals did not seek to hurt him, and also a place that he could train himself to further improve himself and his skills. He learned what he could from the library when he snuck in, but also from observation of other students taught by the teachers alongside ninja around the village. As his life went on, he kept up the act since he felt at any time he could be betrayed by the people he wished to protect. And at one point left so he could train with Jiraiya, who he had met during the Chunin exams. With his mask he had gone with Jiraiya so that he could get stronger to bring back Sasuke. In truth, he didn't care for the Uchiha, but had made a promise to Mikoto, Sasuke's mother, who was one of the few to look after him on occasion in his life. The promise was to look out for Sasuke, but also if that he ever strayed from a path of light to stop him from hurting more people. The night after he promised was the Uchiha massacre, and Naruto swore he would keep his promise, and Naruto abandoning the village was the sign that Sasuke had to die. Jiraiya was shocked when Naruto had revealed the truth of his skills and saw that the reports from his old sensei and the reality was a very different thing, and also the shock that he himself had believed the rumors surrounding him, that he was the dead last just as he was. He was ashamed of himself, seeing how it had been his responsibility to look after Naruto, as it was his duty as his godfather after being named by his father and mother. Eventually, after they had returned after almost 3 years, Naruto began revealing his intelligence and talent, but people still saw his as a demon in the village, not that he really cared at that point. He would only protect them if the village was in danger, anything else was fair game, since they would not bat an eyelid for his condition. It was only after defeating the madman known as Pain, who was a former student of his then dead sensei Jiraiya, that the village began seeing him differently. When Naruto was training to control his Bijuu chakra, he had met with his mother, but also another ancestor, the Sage of the Six Paths. It became apparent that history was wrong, that the Senju were the family who were the ancestors of the younger son of the sage and the physical power of the man. Instead, it was from his mother's clan, the Uzumaki, who had bodies made to contain huge amounts of power, something that was feared alongside their seals, which was why their village was targeted so long ago. Kushina, after viewing her son's life, held him to her, apologizing for not taking the beast back inside her and ending the cycle of the Jinchuriki. Naruto merely held her and told her that it was inevitable that he became the next container of the fox, if not then he would be unable to end the cycle of hate in the world and give himself some peace. The sage, hearing him, told Naruto the truth of the 9 beasts and how they were once one being that when he sealed inside himself made him a god of the world, something he admitted never wanting, and he admitted that he was blind to humans since he had believed that humanity would use the power of chakra for better reasons than war. Both helped him gain control over the fox's chakra, but when he did he gave it back, seeing how taking the chakra would not help. Instead, he offered the fox a deal that if they worked together they could stop the man who had controlled him in the past and no longer be seen as a weapon, but as a being that lived and breathed like many things did in the world. Kushina had been awed by this, but when she saw the fox agree, she knew that perhaps the fact she had restrained the beast for so long was a bad idea. The fox, who revealed his true name to Naruto as Kurama, agreed, seeing how Naruto was something that had perplexed him and how he acted in this world of fools. When Naruto had joined the war against Tobi and Kabuto, was shocked to see the bodies of those long since passed used to fight. Using the skills he had trained with and hidden for so long under the true Kyuubi cloak, the numerous odds didn't matter as he literally became a one-man army flashing through the zombie army, and using the memories given to him by the sage set the zombies free with a control over life, something he both was glad to have and hated. due to the fact holding the powers was something no man should have even with the best intentions. Tobi had tried sealing Naruto after he had stopped his army and killed Kabuto, but didn't realize that Naruto wanted this. Knowing what needed to be done to get rid of the beasts under the guidance of Kurama, allowed himself to be captured so that when the sealing began use the seal he made to absorb all the beasts under a 10 trigram absorption seal, which bonded the beasts back together and with a fusion seal overlapping made Naruto the new 10-tailed beast. Having the form of a wolf instead of the mad beast like before. With his new strength Naruto ended Tobi and everything about him body and soul alike, but seeing what he had become knew what he had to do to ensure no one would use his powers for the wrong reasons. Once more activating his control over life, he constructed a tree from around him to take in his power and give life back to the world, scared by the war. To do so, took so much power and as such his once spiky blonde locks turned silver white and grew long like his mother's had been. He sealed himself away, only regretting never taking the time to find someone in his short life. He may have considered Hinata, who had confessed seeing how she was one who was always honest with him. Nevertheless Naruto felt himself begin to drift into a sleep that he didn't know when he would wake from. As of all his friends looked at the tree sadly, as Hinata had told them that Naruto was the center of it and that the tree was protecting them. She cried heavily at the fact that she would never be with him, as did many whose hearts had been touched by Naruto. The ninja who knew him best prayed for the little ninja who had saved them and the world and hoped that when he returned to the world would have a better life. None of them truly knew the truth about Uzumaki Naruto and who he really was under the mask that he had used all those years ago. Many millennial adults. Where am I? Said a voice in the dark void that they were in. I feel tired even though I slept have to get up. The voice came again feeling weak and stiff as it tried to move its body's limbs. The voice looked at his surroundings and couldn't see anything but felt the roots of a tree, so he asked them to move out his way, which they did as he crawled toward a light he could see. The hand reached outside the tree and the voice trapped pulled himself out of his bed still feeling tired. As he got to the ground he felt something in his mouth that he had to do. He craned his back as he let out a wolf cry that echoed over the place he was in before collapsing to the floor. A few minutes later, a bespectacled man came to the tree feeling something odd only to find an unconscious boy that looked about the same age as some of the girls he taught age, maybe a year older. He noticed that he wore robes that looked tattered and damaged. He picked him up seeing his body looked as bad as his clothes and made his way to the nurse's office in the school. When he dropped him off in one of the beds he found the headmaster waiting for him. What do we have here Takemichi? I see you found the source of that strange energy. Evangeline contacted me saying that something felt odd about the seal. Said an old man with a beard and extremely long eyebrows with intrigue, looking down upon the white-haired boy that Takemichi had laid upon the bed. Yes headmaster, but it surprised me that it's just a boy, albeit one with a very peculiar hair color. Do you know something about this teen? The man known as Takemichi asked the aged principal of Mahara. Perhaps, show me the back of his clothes he was in. Said the principal, stroking his beard. Takemichi took the clothes of the boy and showed his superior the back that had a strange red swirl on it that the dean recognized from an ancient tome he had once read. Ho, it seems he has finally woken up after all this time. His words earned a confused look from Takemichi not understanding the man's words. I see you're confused, but I think I can tell you that this boy is not a boy. He is the warrior myth, Uzumaki Naruto. He got a gasp from Takemichi, who had once read some history about the young ninja who had saved his world at the cost of his life and also given life to the earth, stretching further back than most history did. But that legend is thousands of years old, how can he be so young still? Takemichi asked shocked, seeing someone known through by few as an influential person in changing the world of the ancient world in front of him. You could say the same about Evangeline, and he has been under the world tree since it first sprouted. After he fell to slumber the headmaster explained the situation slightly to the man who nodded, remembering the student that was far older than most would ever believe. The question is, what to do with him now, with Nigi-kun on the way in a week what do we do? Asked Takemichi remembering the new teacher that had been assigned to Mahara for his graduation assignment in Mage Academy. We'll have to ask him when he gets up now, won't we? Mused the old man chuckling at how he could play upon this and if the sleeping boy would be up to helping him out a little. 3 past days in Mahara as Naruto slept and his body regained nutrients from the nurse, Shizuna Minamoto, and her assistant, Eiko Izumi. Both were surprised when the dean had shown them Naruto, but cared for him. The dean had told them that he was found all alone with no record of identification on him. When do you think he will wake up Shizuna-sensei? Asked Eiko getting a sigh from the well-endowed nurse, something many students were jealous of. Hard to say Eiko-chan, his body looked drained completely and his muscles had severe atrophy, so all we can do is wait, but I must admit his hair is unique. She told Eiko seeing as few people had long white hair like he did. The boy named Naruto was strange, as never had she seen a body that had been only just living on the edge, now looked so healthy in contrast. "What came a voice from the only patient in the room, drawing the attention of the two in the room. "Eiko-chan, it seems we won't have to wait any longer, get him some water," Shizuna said in a light amused tone, as Eiko got him a cup and brought it to his lips so he could drink. "Thanks, my throat was really dry." "Wait, where am I?" he asked as he opened his eyes to reveal 2 ocean-colored eyes. "His eyes are like Sapphire's eyes, pretty," thought Eiko as the boy lifted his body with difficulty but managed to get up so his back faced the wall now. "Oh sorry, you are currently in the nurse's office in Mahara Academy. My name is Shizuna Minamoto and next to me is my assistant Eiko Izumi." "Do you remember your name, young man?" asked Shizuna politely. "Yes, my name is Uzumaki Naruto," he said, not knowing what was going on. The last thing he remembered was saying goodbye. "Oh that's right, I slipped into a deep sleep after sealing myself. How long it's been since that day." As he looked through the window he saw the world tree. "That must be the tree that I came from. If it's that big I must have been asleep for a long time." He thought sadly, knowing that everyone he knew was gone, but also held a small smirk, feeling how peaceful the place felt in his mind, almost like there was not any true turmoil in the place he was in. "You look troubled, young man," said a voice from the door. Naruto turned to see the dean in all his bushy-eyed glory. "Wow, those eyebrows are bigger than Gai-san's," was his first thought on the dean. "Sorry, just trying to figure things out. I think I have been asleep for a very long time." Naruto brushed a hand through his hair as he said this. "I see, my name is Konoman Kano, would you like to talk about it?" he asked politely to Naruto. "I doubt you would believe what I had to say," Naruto said dismissively, knowing that his past would most likely sound like those of a madman. Konoman gestured for the other two to leave before placing a silencing spell around the room. "Try me, Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha." Kano saying his name got shocked expression from the Naruto. How he tried to ask but was stopped by the dean's hand. "You have been gone for the world for some time, Naruto-kun, at least a few thousand years in fact. Although in all that time your story is one that many still read, but then again most don't believe its truth. Your story is an inspiration to many to become strong for the right reasons. How taking the path to protect that which is precious will make you truly strong," he said as Naruto took in his words. Naruto had tears in his eyes, now knowing he was remembered in the world, even if his world was no longer what he remembered. "It's funny, I used to dream that no one would ever remember who I was when I was younger. It seems as though I was wrong, only now, I have no clue what to do with myself after being asleep for so long." "What do you do with yourself after being gone from the world for so long?" he asked himself, really, only the dean to place a hand on his shoulder. "Naruto-kun, I know you feel lost, but if you want I can help you get back on your feet before you decide what you wish to do with your life." He got a nod from Naruto as he cried into his hands, seeing how he would never see anyone he actually came to see as a good friends from back then: Hinata, Shino, Shikamaru, Choji, Gaara to name a few. "I can offer you a job here at Mahoro as a teacher's assistant if you wish." He continued to try and give the poor boy a chance, one that he truly deserved based on what his story had told him. "But also to look after the students here who are precious to me, like my granddaughter Kanoka." He waited for Naruto to calm down and wipe his face of excess tears. After a few minutes Naruto stopped crying and took a deep breath. "I think I'll take your offer, Kano-san. I don't have anything else in the world, so maybe it's best to stay here for the time being. I am free to live my life out now that I am back and no longer I that world," he said, looking up at the man who gave him a warm smile in response to his answer. "Excellent, and thank you, Naruto-kun. My heart will feel at ease if you look after my granddaughter's class with their new teacher that's coming in a few days," he said, confusing the boy slightly. "Why, what's wrong with her and the class?" he asked the dean. The dean explained how magic was used more in the world as Apis to chakra once was. He further explained that Kanoka had a high amount of power like him and was worried for her safety. And lastly he told him how Negi Springfield was going to be her class teacher and that he was a 10-year-old prodigy, getting a small laugh from Naruto, which he was happy to see him do. He asked if he would be okay staying with one of his students, as all teacher rooms were filled at the moment, which he accepted easily, not seeing the glint in the old man's eye. "That's a lot to take in, Kano-san, but looking at my past I guess I can't really talk." He chuckled to himself at the thought. "So magic is frequently used but kept secret from others unwise. They turn you into an ermine or some other small creature. Does that mean you don't want me to be seen using my power as well?" He checked, getting a laugh and nod from the dean. "Yes, I know it's a little strange, but enough about that. I think we need to get you some new clothes. I'll be paying for them and don't worry about paying me back. I'm sure you'll be able to once you start working, unless you find another source of income." Naruto then remembered something and held out his arm, revealing strange tattoos. "Yuan-kai," he said as a seal appeared above his arm and several things fell out. Naruto picked 3 out of the 15 books that had dropped. Kano-san, if you can get these published, they are the work of an old friend and I'm sure he's like to have them read again, just make sure young students can't get a hold of them," he said, remembering the works of Jiraiya, the old perverted senin. "I'll see what I can do, Naruto-kun. I'll also see if any students from the class you'll be teaching wish to take you shopping at the moment. And thank you again, Naruto-kun," he said as he began to leave. "No, thank you, Kano-san, for giving me a chance and welcoming me here. I'll do my best to help out the class as best as I can in my time here," Naruto said as the dean left the room. He didn't have to wait long before the door opened and a brown-haired girl walked in. She was wearing what he presumed to be the school uniform. She had brown eyes and a very kind expression. "Hello, I'm Chizuru Naba. I take it you are the person Kano-sensei wants someone to take shopping?" she asked Naruto as he lifted his feet out of the bed. Naruto smiled at the girl thinking she looked nice with that kind expression on her face. "Yes, my name is Uzumaki Naruto Chizuru-chan. Do you mind handing me the robe there? It's the only clothes I have at the moment," he asked politely, earning a giggle from the girl at the use of suffix. She handed him his clothes and helped him slip it on as he got to his feet, albeit shaky. This gave her a chance to look him over. She saw his handsome face, long hair and toned body after he exposed his chest from the bed sheets as he clothed his torso. Thankfully he still had his pants on. She led him through Mahoro and stopped at the shops where she helped him pick out suits and he had told her that he would be working as a teacher very soon. He picked out a white suit and black shirt alongside a orange tie, to which Chizuru agreed he looked good in as he got a couple and told the clerk to send the bill to the dean. Chizuru took Naruto round the city and Naruto was shocked to learn that the whole city was part on an academy and an all-girls one at that. While walking they told each other about themselves and their hobbies. For Chizuru, it was helping out at nurseries and stargazing with the astrology club, and Naruto, music and helping people. She smiled at that one as they both had that, but asked if she could hear his music, to which he agreed if she took him to the music room at the academy. "Do you have any preferred musical instrument you'd like to hear from Chizuru-chan?" he asked, making the girl put one finger on her chin and thought. "Can you play the flute, Naruto-san?" she asked, to which he nodded as he took one of the flutes off the side. "Insert watashi wa sanada ni horit moai ka do not own." Chizuru watched the young man she just met as he played skillfully with his eyes closed. He simply let his fingers move to the flow of the music. Outside, some of the other students could hear the music and stopped what they were doing just so they could enjoy the sounds. Music is a powerful thing, it allows us to express ourselves in our lives. It's something I enjoyed as a child and I find it helps me remember some nice things in life," Naruto said as he went back to playing the flute. Chizuru felt the emotion of the music. It was a requiem for Naruto, making her want to know more about him and what was the cause of the emotion he displayed in his music. He came to a close in the song and looked out the window overlooking the city Mahoro Academy. "Let's see what you hold here for me here," he said quietly, before he stood up and began walking toward the door, his hair swaying in the wind from the open window, where students had broken out of their trace from the music they were hearing. Chizuru watched him leave and followed, eventually remembering he had no idea of where things were. "I wonder if Naruto-san will become working with our class this term, might make things more fun. I hope I can get him to play for me again," she thought before shaking her head. "Oh, what am I thinking?" she mumbled. "You say something, Chizuru-chan?" asked Naruto, hearing her with his heightened hearing. "It's nothing, Naruto-san, but it's getting late. Do you know where you're sleeping yet?" she asked, making him get a sweat drop. "Actually no, Kano-san didn't tell me where I'd be staying yet," he laughed, slightly embarrassed, earning a small giggle from his guide. "Do you mind taking me to the dean's office to find out where I'm staying, Chizuru-chan?" he asked, rubbing the back of his head. "No problem at all, Naruto-san," she said, smiling, and dragged him by the hand, electing a blush from him as she had very soft hands. He did not notice the smirk on the girl as she dragged him. It wasn't long before they were inside the dean's office with the old man, who was reading from an orange book. Giggling, Naruto resisted the urge to shake his head at the man. He then asked the old man about his living situation, or rather lack of at the moment. "Ho, Naruto-kun, yes, your living arrangements, I take it, you don't mind sharing with a student, do you hear?" he asked and got a shake of the head for no. The dean then wrote something on a piece of paper before handing it to Naruto. "Well then, head to the room on this sheet and give your new roommate this note. It will explain your situation. By the way, the books you gave me will be getting published as you ask under your name, if that's alright," he said. "That's fine by me, but ask him to put Uzumaki Naruto and Jiraiya no Gama as the author and co-author, and thank you for letting get these new clothes, Kano-san. In regards to earlier matters, do you want me to meet the new staff member in a few days with Takemichi-san?" he asked the man. "Yes, it would be best, since you'll be working with him from that day. Until then, you are free to roam the city as you see fit," he told Naruto, getting a grin, as Naruto wanted to change into his wolf form and now had time to do so. "Thank you, Kano-san, and see you in a few days then." He bowed before and leaving the room and saw that Chizuru was still there. "Would you mind showing me to my new room, Chizuru-chan?" He asked, getting a nod, and she led him to the dorms and dropped him off at his room. His roommate was not fussed about having Naruto stay with her, he was thankful to her for it. The next few days had Naruto slip into Hanyu form and check his skills were up to scratch. He found getting back into his taijutsu easily enough, as well as the jutsu he had remembered, his muscles still needed a fine-tuning, but nothing a few exercise wouldn't fix. His roommate helped him out with working on his muscles as she worked out in her club. During the next few days Naruto also met up with a few members of staff that he might be working with and those that also had knowledge of magic. He found them all easy to talk to, and he also learned a few things about the school as well, but not everything since they told it that it would be fun for him to find out on his own. Eventually came the day where Naruto was making his way to the train station to meet his new co-worker Nigi Springfield. Spreeks. Naruto was heading toward the station as many girls ran past him, and Naruto found himself wondering if the skirts here were too short, but he shook his head as he looked for his 10-year-old colleague. He was told that Nigi was a genius, having gotten the qualifications to become a teacher at his age. Naruto was impressed with this. He must have one heck of a goal if he pushes himself like that, he thought, and then saw a stampede of girls. Okay, time for a workout, let's see how well I avoid this hazard. Naruto began weaving in and out of the crowd of girls and felt home free until he heard a loud achoo which knocked him off balance and tripping into a nearby student. He helped her to her feet and smiled apologetically. "Ah, sorry about that, you okay there?" The student nodded, a tinge of pink on her cheeks. He looked her over for any injuries as the other students passed them. "See you later, and sorry again," he said as the girl got her bag and made her way muttering. Bye as she passed him. "See you in class, sensei." The girl thought to herself, running ahead. "I swear that zero-tolerance policy for lateness is too much, but it gets the students' blood flowing at least," he said to himself watching as all the girls ran past. "Take that back." Naruto heard and turned to see a small red-headed boy being held up by a girl with orange hair that had bells attached to her pigtails, wearing the standard school outfit, red vest with a red long-sleeve jacket and plaid red skirt. Her friend next to her was quite cute, with dark brown hair and in the same uniform. Naruto decided to stop the mistreatment of youth. "Excuse me, Oju-chan, do you mind putting the small boy down? I don't think hurting him is necessary," he said, catching the attention of all three. They saw a tall young man about their age, maybe a couple years older, long white hair that hanged around his waist, and shockingly, his ocean blue like the girl holding the boy, at least in one eye for her. He had a gentle expression on his face and was dressed in a white suit. Black shirt and blue tie making him look professional. The girl holding the boy had an annoyed expression of his face, and "Who the hell are you?" she said as she glared at him. "Just someone looking out to see you don't do something you'll regret," he said calmly, smiling as he stared at her eyes, not flinching from her raised voice at all. "You should listen to him, Asuna-kun," said the voice of Takemichi walking toward him. "Takemichi-san, you know things, student?" asked Naruto, seeing how the man had called the red-headed girl by her first name. "Yes, this is Asuna Kagurazaka, a student of mine from last year. Good to see you again too, Nigi-kun," he said to the boy, now dropped by the girl, Asuna, who had a blush on her face seeing the older teacher. "Good morning," said the voice of the dark-haired girl, smiling kindly and giving Naruto a curious glance. "It's good to see you too, Takemichi-san," said the young boy with the staff on his back. Naruto looked over the small boy, offering his hand to help him up. You're Nigi Springfield, I take it then." Naruto got a nod from the boy. "Well, nice to meet you, Nigi. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, your assistant for your time here. I hope we can work well," said Naruto as Nigi reached out for the elder boy's hand. He shook it happily before he brought him to his feet. "Indeed, and welcome to Mihara, Nigi-kun." Takemichi made a sweeping gesture. "It's a place, isn't it, sensei?" "Sensei?" questioned the dark-haired girl, who Naruto remembered was Kano's granddaughter, Kanoka. "Yes, Nigi-kun here is teaching English here, and I'm his assistant for lessons," explained Naruto to the girl. "Wait, you mean these two brats are going to be teachers? I find that hard to believe, Takahata-sensei." Asuna questioned in shock, as there was no way that these two guys could possibly be teachers, especially that red-haired brat. "Excuse me, Asuna-chan, but I believe I'm older than you, so if anyone is the brat it would be you," Naruto pointed out logically as the girl's face turned red. Before Asuna could explode, Takahata decided to jump in. "Actually, Asuna-kun, these two are pretty smart for their age. Nigi-kun here is a child genius, and Naruto-kun passed his competency tests for being an assistant," he explained to the girls, since Naruto had learned several languages over the past few days, courtesy of shadow clones. Asuna looked at Takahata. "Sensei, even if you tell me that, it seems that from today onwards these two will be taking over Class A instead of me," Takemichi said, smiling, and the words slowly sank into the two girls' heads. Kanoka seemed surprised, but Naruto was really focused on Asuna, who looked like she was about to explode. "You've got to be kidding me. I don't want a kid and some weirdo teaching me. I take offense to that, mumbled Naruto, frowning. He did not like the term the girl gave him. Asuna ignored the blonde as she began pleading with Takahata. Plus a while back he was saying love something really rude to me, Asuna said while poking her fingers together nervously. Naruto looked at Nigi before kneeling down and whispering, what did you tell her? I said her love was unrequited, Nigi whispered back, causing Naruto to shake his head before Nigi continued, but it's true. It is not to her. Asuna picked him up by the collar of his coat and began to shake him. I hate kids, especially little annoying fleas like you. Naruto was about to stop her, but as he grabbed her arm, some of his and her hair tickled Nigi's nose. Achoo, the boys sneezed, blew off each of their clothes and both got a good look at each other before covering their unmentionables with Naruto saying, Nigi, you owe me a suit. He said with a forced smile that made the boy shiver. Later in the dean's office, Naruto, now dressed again, Asuna, in gym tracksuit, Konoha and Nigi, standing as far as possible away from Naruto. Principal sensei, what is the meaning of this? Asuna asked enraged. The ho-ho, Nigi-kun, I see your training was to come to Japan as a teacher, that's quite the task they've given you, the old man said, stroking his large beard with one hand, no doubt a habit of his after the years of growing it. Why yes, Nigi said, giving a slight bow, it's nice to meet you. Naruto-kun, I see you met your college and are ready for your job, I'll take it. He nodded at the dean, who had been a big help over the few days. And it helped that his balance had been steadily increasing from the Icha series he gave him to republish. He could see a copy on the dean's desk. The dean had found it to be a really relaxing piece of literature. Indeed, except for a strange wind that seemed to blow off my clothes, but nothing to worry about. He said, smiling, knowing that what happened was an accident didn't mean he wasn't going to prank the little kid later at some point. The ho-ho, that's good. By the way, Naruto-kun, are you single? If so, what do you think of my granddaughter here, Konoha? He asked only for him to feel a great pain in his head. Konoha had pulled out a mallet and hit him over the head, saying, oh grandpa. Isn't it just a little odd that these kids are going to be teaching us? Asuna asked the adult in the room. Naruto shook his head at the obvious fact that she had not listened to him earlier, and our homeroom teachers, no less. Nigi-kun, Konoha spoke, interrupting and ignoring Asuna. This job will probably be very difficult even for you. He paused for a moment to add a little drama to his words, if it is too hard you will have to return home. There will be no second chances, do you accept? Nigi looked nervous, but Naruto put his hands on his shoulders. Don't worry, Kono-san, I'm sure Nigi will do his best and he'll have help from me if it becomes too much. This got Nigi to relax, seeing as he wasn't alone in the whole ordeal made it easier on his nerves. Nigi smiled as he instantly felt better. Yes, I'll do it. He said with a courageous expression on his face. Then it's settled, Konoha said, let us begin today. Let me introduce to you our staff guidance counselor Shizuna-sensei. He called out the woman on his buzzer. The door opened and Naruto held Nigi as his warning signal went off in his head. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you were, Naruto could not get away and found his face pushed within a soft set of pillows, figuratively speaking. Naruto found himself stuttering and blushing as he spewed out apologies to Shizuna. He never really had that happen often in his life. It's alright, haha, she said, giggling slightly, seeing a handsome teen like Naruto blush and stutter was endearing to her. Konoha repressed the urge to give a perverted giggle. Too much Icha. If there's anything you don't understand, you should ask her. Konoha told the two new staff members. The woman looked at Nigi and gave a small wink. It's a pleasure to meet you. Oh, and one more thing, said the old man who looked like a light just came on in his head. Konoha-chan, Asuna-chan, can Nigi stay with you for a little while? We have yet to find a place for him to stay at. Ja, was all Asuna could think to say as she gaped at the old man. Asuna suddenly slammed her hands onto Konoha's desk. What? From when until when, Principal Sensei? She shouted in outrage. Don't you feel sorry for him? Konoha asked as she pet Nigi on the head, who found that Konoha had soft hands. Naruto just chuckled seeing how she acted. I told you I hate kids. Asuna yelled at the brunette. You two get along now, Konoha said as the two looked away from each other. Wait, where are you staying, Naruto-sensei? I've never seen you around here if I may ask. Said Konoha. Naruto smiled down at the girl. Correct, Konoha-chan. I haven't been here long, only a week or so, but I did find myself a roommate here in the dorms, Konoha-chan. He said, getting the girl to beam. She liked this new sensei already. As the five including Shizuna walked to their class, Asuna was glaring daggers at Naruto and Nigi, making the poor redhead sweat. Very quickly after leaving the office, Asuna stopped and pointed at Nigi. I refuse to live with someone like you. Asuna shouted. Go camp outside with a sleeping bag or something. I'm going ahead. See you later, senseis. With that said, she stomped off ahead of the group. Konoha blushed a bit as she bowed to them and ran after Asuna. Naruto shook his head as he looked at Shizuna. Is she always so? He trailed off as he raised hand and gave an iffy gesture with it. Ooh, that girl's always been a little rowdy, but she really is a nice person. Shizune replied as she took out a book and gave it to Nigi. Now this is the class roll, would you two be okay? I'm sure we'll be fine, Shizuna-san. Come on Nigi, let's meet our class, said Naruto as he and Shizuna brought Nigi into the classroom. Before they went in, Nigi looked overwhelmed after seeing he'd be in charge of 31 girls. Naruto already had seen who he'd be teaching and was happy to work with the girls. The mind drifted back to Konoman's question of being single. You see, Naruto in his ninja days, before his slumber kept him very busy and he honestly never had the time to really get a girlfriend. Maybe I can find someone here, might be nice to have someone like that, wished I had the time to speak to Hinata. He thought as he placed a reassuring hand of Nigi's shoulder and they walked into the room. Nigi walked through the class first and got hit with an eraser that he almost used magic to stop before tripping a wire that sent a bucket of water onto his head and a few arrows with suction cups attacked to him as he rolled into the desk at the front. Okay, Nigi no longer owes me for stripping me earlier, thought Naruto as he watched his colleague fall for all of the traps. Naruto helped him up and the girls noticed him and rushed to him. Sorry, we thought you would be our new teacher. One of the twins apologized. Fuka, if Naruto's memory served well enough. No girls, he is your new teacher, now why don't you two introduce yourselves, said Shizune and nudged Nigi. He gulped. I'm Nigi Springfield and from this day onwards, we are going to be your new homeroom teachers. It's nice to meet you all. Nigi bowed politely to his class. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, the assistant teacher to Nigi here, so feel free to ask me questions if you're having any problems. He smiled at the class, getting a few blushes including his roommate. There was a collected he's so cute. From the class as they jumped Nigi, Naruto did wise thing and took a step to the side only to get surrounded by some of the older students. How old are you? 10. 17. Where are you from? Wales. The place long gone. What do you mean? Asked Kanoka curiously. I was found by the World Tree a week ago. When I came to the dean told me that my home was gone, but I remember it though, so it's not forgotten. He with a far-off expression. The girls were hesitant to ask more except one glasses-wearing girl. So where are you staying at the moment, Naruto-sensei? Haruna Saddam asked. He looked back at the class and smiled. My current residence, if with one of your classmates. See if you can guess which one without conferring, he said, trying to lighten the mood. Jisum? Said a red-haired girl named Asakura Kazumi. Nope, he said, but heard never, muttered from Chisum. Evangeline, said another red-headed girl named Meiki Sasaki. Sorry, one more try, said Naruto, taking note of the star the blonde girl at the back was sending him. Mana, asked a younger of the twins, Fumika Naritaki. Wrong, and that's 3, so I'll have to tell you. He said, raising his hand to point. My roommate is my new friend Zazie Rainy, he said, getting all girls to turn and look at said girl who was juggling. She nodded, confirming what he said, making a few girls glare in jealousy, even Chizuru slightly. Now let's stop glaring at her and get on with class, right Nigi, said Naruto, getting attention away from the quiet girl who gave him a thankful nod. Nigi went to the blackboard and was attempting to teach. Despite not being able to teach, Naruto smiled at the student named Aoki Yukihiro, offered him a stool, but sweat dropped at her behavior toward the 10-year-old. Naruto felt a projectile coming for Nigi and held out his hand to catch a piece of eraser, then caught several more with ease. Could whoever is firing their eraser please stop, since I think you'll need it more than I do. Naruto said, holding up his hand that held the eraser pieces. I'm sure Nigi wants to get on with the lesson. He then stared at the person who fired them, who suddenly found her desk and shoes very interesting. Class ended without much disruption and Naruto with Nigi walked until they both sat at the statue by the stairs. So Nigi, how's it feel being a mage and a teacher at 10 years old? He asked as Nigi was writing something in his class roster. It's tough, but I'm sure I'll be able to pass and become a full. He stopped, realizing he's revealed his secret while not paying attention. Don't worry, Nigi, I already know about magic, and in fact, Naruto said, making a small rose grow from the ground, I'm a bit of one myself, among other things. He said. Other things, like what, Naruto-san? He asked with his natural curiosity and wanting to learn more about his colleague. I'll tell you later, but who's that over there on the stairs? Said Naruto, noticing a girl carrying several books at the top of the stairs. She clearly had too many for a girl of her size. That's number 27, Miyazaki Nodoka-san. Isn't it dangerous for her to be carrying all those books? As Nigi said it, Nodoka fell from the sides of the stairs. Nigi used his staff to slow her fall so he could catch her. Naruto was happy to see him using his magic to help out, but felt someone watching and turned round to see Asuna staring at him and at Nigi. She ran over and grabbed Nigi, then Naruto, surprising him at her physical strength, and pushed them both into a tree. I knew you two were weird, fess up, what the heck was that? She shouted at them but then felt her hand jerked away by Naruto. She then looked at him to see 2 ears on his head and 10 tails swishing behind him. I still take offense to that, I'm not weird, just different, and Nigi is a mage like myself if you must know, said Naruto. Ahhh, Naruto-san, you're not supposed to reveal magic to civilians, and is that a tail? Said Nigi, shouting at first, then stopping as he spotted his friend's additions. In fairness, you revealed it first, but nevertheless, Asuna-chan, we ask you keep this a secret, he asked her, and her response was simple. No way. She yelled at the two, still a little shocked by the ears on her new sensei. You leave me no choice then, now that you know my secret. I'm going to have to erase your memory. This might cause some brain damage, so sorry about that, said Nigi, preparing his staff to cast his spell. Vanish. He exclaimed as Asuna found herself being stripped again. Nigi, are you trying to do this? Questioned Naruto, thinking that this was something out of his Icha books. Could write my own version for when the series ends, might be fun. Naruto thought to himself as he offered his jacket to the girl as her bottoms were blown off. She took it, wrapping around her waist, muttering thank you, but what's with the ears, are they even real? She asked. Yes, Asuna-chan, they are both real, you see I had to change before I came here and ended up a half-wolf. But I easily adapt to most changes. Even when I was a child I had to grow up a little faster than others, seeing how I had no parents or anyone to take care of me. He said sadly. Asuna felt a little sympathy for him, as she was an orphan with no memory of her past, and her new teacher was just like her, albeit with one major difference. Does that mean your family are gone now? She asked, getting a nod from the half-wolf before he changed back. Now need you go with Asuna-chan so she can get changed before coming back to class, and apologize to her too. Said Naruto, ushering them to move, and both made their way with Nigi muttering apologizes for his action, explaining that if found out he would be turned into an ermine. Naruto watched them go and hoped they could get along. You can come out now, he said to the person behind him. Out of the bush came a girl carrying a large shuriken that was bigger than any he had seen before. Kid Nagas, member of the strolling club and apparent ninja by the looks. Might I ask what you want with me? He asked the girl, who smirked. I felt strange demon energy and decided to check it out. Imagine my surprise when it was you, Naruto-sensei Digaseru, she answered, walking away from her shuriken after disassembling it, as he had shown no signs of wanting to attack. What will you do now you know? He asked calmly. Nothing, sensei, you hold no intent and are nothing like any demon I have been told about. I'd rather get to know you, Digarasu, she said, smiling, offering her hand, which he took. It's a pleasure, Kid-chan, just keep it to yourself. I'd rather not anyone tell the other students about my situation unless I tell them, at least the ones who don't know about the other world. So shall I walk you back to class then? He asked as she nodded and kept hold of the hand she took as she dragged him. Sure, but sensei, can I ask why don't you tie your hair up? It must be a problem in strong winds. She asked, admiring his hair that glowed in the sun. I like it when it flows, feels more natural. Although now that you mention it I see that your hair is tied too, so I wonder what your natural hair looks like, Kid-chan. He said, making the girl grin. As they continued to walk back, Kid struck up a conversation. So what are your hobbies, Naruto-sensei? Digazeru, she asked. Honestly, I have a few hobbies. Gardening, music, cooking, ninja training, etc., he said offhandedly, making Kid open one eye. You've had ninja training, Digazeru? She asked, interested. Yeah, but with all my training I never had the time to make it past the genin rank, despite what I could do, he said with a sigh. So where would you put your ranking then, Digazeru? She asked, making Naruto tilt his head, which she thought made him look cute. Never thought about it, but here's an idea, why don't we train a bit on the weekend so you can evaluate? He got a nod of approval from the ninja girl as they made their way back to the academy. They were lucky enough to catch the scene of Asuna practicing her confession on Nigi, and Naruto noticed that the girl looked nice with her hair down. He smirked at the scene. My Asuna-chan going after Nigi, didn't think she had it in her. Any comments, Kid-chan? He said as both Nigi and Asuna blushed, the latter stating that it was for practice. There was a flash of light and Asuna turned to see Kazumi with a few other girls, giving jealous stares at her position with Nigi, most Aka that led to the two bickering as Naruto watched, laughing at their behavior. Later on, Naruto was walking beside Asuna, Kanoka and Nigi as they were making their way home. Well, that was certainly an interesting first day, wasn't it, Nigi? And almost getting your first kiss at 10, he joked, making Nigi blush and got Asuna annoyed. Hey, I told you I was just practicing confessing on the brat. I'm after Takahata-sensei anyway, she said as Naruto tilted his head in confusion, but Takamichi is a lot older than you, Asuna-chan. She swiped at him only for him to catch her fist. No hitting the teacher, Asuna-chan, unless you want some private time with me, he teased, making the girl's face go red. Asuna sighed as she reined in her anger. Anyway, Nigi, you may be smart and maybe you can use magic or whatever. She crossed her arms as she looked at him, but you're really just a kid on the inside, aren't you? Do you really intend to be a teacher in spite of that? Seeing his face frown, Naruto placed a hand on Nigi's shoulder and smiled at him, his eyes conveying the message, "You'll be fine." "Well, I'm going home," Asuna said with a wave. Okay, Nigi said. Asuna suddenly stopped and turned around to face Nigi. "Hey, have you decided on a place to stay yet?" she asked. "No, Nigi said bashfully. "It's okay, if you stay with me, that is," Asuna interrupted me. Nigi asked, shocked. "Well," Asuna twirled her hair in between her fingers, "I may have said a bit too much back there." She looked at him with a small wink. "If you keep trying hard, you'll be a good teacher one day too." Naruto watched the girl and smiled, seeing that even though Asuna was rough around the edges like many, but had a good heart and would look out for Nigi despite his luck in producing good material for books, he called it the Nigi effect. "Asuna-chan, Konoha-chan, thanks for taking him in. I can tell Nigi needs support in more than one way, just remember to keep my secret, Asuna-chan," he said, smiling at the two who blushed at the smile. He began walking ahead only to hear. "Achoo. Kaya. You did it again," shouted Asuna as her skirt was blown up by Nigi. "I'm sorry." Nigi apologized and Naruto chuckled as he continued on his path heading back to the dorms with his roommate Zazie. "Wonder what will happen next?" he mused as once he was out of sight he used Hiraishin to appear in his room where Zazie was waiting. "Evening, Zazie-chan," he said, smiling at the silent girl. She smiled at him. She said. "Yeah, it's really handy, had some trouble learning it, so how come you could tell I was a Hanyu when you met me?" he asked. He rose an eyebrow to this. "Interesting, who would have thought demon folk would want to tend a school in the human world, but who am I to judge?" he replied. She asked, "Maybe learning magic could be useful, I did like to learn new things." "You can learn with me if you want, Zazie-chan, that way I'll feel safer," he said, thinking about how teams used to be set up. Naruto nodded. "Of course, I can tell you're a good person, Zazie-chan, I can easily trust you to help me and it'd be nice to learn with a pretty girl like yourself," he said, smiling, electing a blush from the girl. She said, heading for the bathroom. "Alright, I'll ask Konoman tomorrow for books and call me Naruto, Zazie-chan, no need for sensei out of class," he said as she closed the door, muttering "Alright Naruto-kun" quietly as Naruto got into bed after changing quickly. Naruto was glad he had ended up with Zazie as his roommate, he already had experience in speaking with silent types, Shino, so imagine her surprise when he talked to her and understood her despite her seemingly not saying anything. He was surprised that a few hours after meeting she had told him that she could tell he was a Hanyu being of demon folk, decent herself like her sister Poyo, and helped him with a few exercises. He felt at ease as he fell asleep. "Hey Takahata-sensei, I made you some tea," Asuna said as she held out a cup to her not-so-secret crush, "it's really good." That's a love potion, isn't it?" commented Takahata as Asuna blushed. "You know you don't need to use a love potion on me," he said, cupping her face. Said Asuna. "After all, you already made a good impression on me before," said a much younger voice, and Asuna felt tails coil around her. She then realized that it wasn't Takahata in front of her, but the new teacher Naruto with his animal features exposed. "Now we can share our first true kiss with each other," he said, smiling as he moved closer and cupped her cheeks. "And Naruto," she murmured as she woke up to see she was hugging the smallery-haired boy from yesterday. "Aya!" she screamed. That was this noise that woke up Naruto from his sleep, only to see Zazie leaning over him. She asked, "Yes please, Zazie-chan, I'd love some breakfast before we head to the academy, do you mind walking with me?" he replied to the silent question. She nodded as she went back to the kitchen and prepared breakfast as Naruto took his shower and came out dressed in his suit. Zazie had prepared a simple breakfast of bacon and eggs, something Naruto was happy to try, Western dish people, and enjoyed it, although he did wonder where he could find a ramen stand in the Mahara. Naruto and Zazie made their way to the academy and as they walked through the corridors, they could hear whispers and giggles about the new teacher, which he smiled to himself about since it was nice not to be looked at with admiring eyes as opposed to what he remembered. They were exchanging their shoes as Nigi walked in and was met by Ayaka. "Good morning Nigi-sensei, Naruto-sensei, Zazie-san," she greeted the three as she helped Nigi with his books. Nigi smiled at her. "Thank you Incho-san," he replied, that made the girl blush. "Please sensei, call me Ayaka," she said as she led him to the classroom. Said Zazie. "I agree, Nigi and Ayaka-chan do look nice together, hope he slept well with Konoha-chan and Asuna-chan," he said as he blocked a fist aimed for his head. "Alright, what did I do to deserve that, Asuna-chan?" he asked. "Stay out of my dreams," she said in a huff. "Why were you dreaming about me, Asuna-chan?" he asked, innocently, making the girl blush. "Anyway, do you have any idea what that scream was this morning?" he asked, making Asuna blush redder as she remembered the dream she had woken up from before walking off. "Do you mind explaining, Konoha-chan?" he asked the girls as she came through. "Well, Asuna woke up this morning to find Nigi in her bed," she said, smiling. "Must be one of those sleep habits people develop, or he's unconsciously making a move." Looking at him, "I'm inclined to believe the first," he said thoughtfully. "Shall we head to class then, ladies?" he asked, getting nods from Zazie and Konoha as they walked with him, Zazie a little closer. Meanwhile inside the classroom a few students were chatting at the back. So then what do you think of Naruto-sensei, Digazeru? Asked Kid to her friend Mana. Not sure, don't know enough to make an assessment, although him being a Hanyu was a shock. I may need to talk to Zazie about it seeing as she's living with him, she said. A Hanyu? Said another student named Satsuna in shock as there were few Hanyu in the world and for one to be a teacher was extraordinary. Hi, I saw it myself. He appeared to be half-wolf, but what was odd was the 10 tails he had. Digazeru Kid said in return. He also says he had ninja training and that we could evaluate his skills on the weekend if you want to see Digazeru, she continued. A ninja? You know, I think I'll take up that offer to see you evaluate his skills. Kid might be informative, said Mana as Naruto and the other walked in with Nigi. As they walked through, Naruto caught the eraser that fell from the door that made the Narataki twins snap their fingers. Not bad, thought Mana as she saw Naruto catch the eraser on instinct alone. Naruto smiled at the class as he and Nigi took their seats and a small nod to Zazie. Stand, Nodoka called out. Each girl stood up as the two senseis entered class. Oh. Good morning, senseis. The girls called out. Gee, good morning, Nigi said, still somewhat nervous about his job, though he decided that he had to do his best. Well then, let's begin. Please open your books to page 76. Naruto watched the class and couldn't help but feel nostalgic of his own academy days, even if a lot of it wasn't the best, but as he looked round the room, he noticed a few students stealing glances at him, as if trying to figure something out. He sent off a small pulse of chakra to see who was more aware. He took note of those whose eyes went wide at the feeling and filed it for later. Seems Konoman forgot to mention that there were a few girls already aware of magic, he thought to himself. He went back to watching the class, which, particularly Asuna, who was once again fighting with Nigi. Ayaka had offered to read, but Asuna, not wanting to be upstaged by the blonde, had decided to try instead. This had ended up with nearly all of the class making fun of her. Naruto frowned at that. If there was one thing Naruto would never do even at the cost of death, it was make fun of someone for their deficiencies. Naruto knew that Asuna, her lack of knowledge was most likely the fault of someone not teaching her at a younger age. He had to learn most things on his own, at times by trial and error. Why you? I told you this morning not to get on my bad side. Naruto snapped out of his reverie when he heard Asuna's shout. He looked up to see the girl shaking Nigi back and forth. Naruto was just about to go up and stop her when he noticed that Nigi was about to sneeze. Now here he had two choices. Let Asuna be stripped again or take the blow, since she didn't really deserve to be embarrassed in class like he had. Being who he was, he chose the latter and switched himself with Asuna so that when Nigi sneezed it was him who was stripped to his orange boxers. A number of the class stared at Naruto's body almost hungrily, mainly Haruna. Oh goody, fangirls. Well, I needed a good workout and running from them will do okay, he thought, facing Nigi with an aura that meant trouble. Nigi, try to make sure then windows are closed when teaching, and that's the new suit you owe me, he said too sweetly. Nigi was shaking, thinking about how much trouble he'd be in. Asuna was thankful for Naruto taking the hit but was angry at Nigi for almost stripping her again. She glared at him as Naruto left the room to get another suit. Nigi, please continue with the class material while I get changed, said Naruto as he left the room. There was whispers of how good he looked or how he'd be perfect for a new doujinshi. There were however thought of how Naruto had so many scars on his well-built body, including one where his heart should be begging the question, what had Naruto-sensei been through? I'm sorry, Naruto-san, said Nigi as the two were by the statue. I embarrassed you and nearly did something terrible to Asuna-san again, he continued as Naruto flicked his head. No, san, Nigi, just Naruto, and I can't really blame you or her. You can't control your wind power and you've basically stripped the girl in front of her crush and almost in front of the class. Naruto put a hand on his shoulder. That's true. I thought she was going to fillet you in class. Naruto trailed off when he saw Nigi get more depressed and ruffled his hair. Try not worrying, just giving her some time to cool down and I'm sure she'll forgive you. Nigi looked up at his hero with a smile. Thanks, Naruto. Nai-san. He questioned. I thought it would be okay, he said. Yeah, it's fine, always wanted a little brother, Naruto said. Naruto smiled before he noticed that Nodoka and two other girls that Naruto recognized from his class. Nigi-sensei. Nigi looked to the source of the voice and noticed the girls in his class. Ah yes. Excuse us, sensei, said Haruna as Naruto noticed she had a small orange book in her hand. We have some questions about today's lesson. Nigi smiled. Ah, certainly, let's see, you're Sadam Haruna from seat 14, aren't you? He asked. It's not me. It's this girl, Haruna said as she pushed Nodoka forward, said girl, gaining a rather large blush. Naruto was looking at what they were doing and smiled, seeing as the girl looked very shy and reminded him Hinata wouldn't be surprised if she is her descendant. She seems like a sweet girl, but where did Haruna get that book, he thought. Miyazaki-san, you've changed your hairstyle, Nigi said with a smile, it really suits you. Haruna instantly made herself known as she grabbed onto Nodoka's face and brushed some of the hair away to reveal the shy girl's eyes. Doesn't it just? Don't you think it's cute? Haruna said with a happy grin. She's such a cute girl, but she never shows her face. Madoka's blush intensified to the point where Naruto was almost certain the girl would spontaneously combust before that could happen, though she let out an eep. As she ran off. The other girls following her were sorry about this sensei. They yelled as they chased after the poor girl only for Naruto to block off Haruna. Haruna-chan, where did you get that book that's meant for adult reading? He asked with a raised eyebrow. She smiled. If it helps my research for new doujinshi, I buy it by any means necessary, she said with pride. Naruto could only think, crying and I'm tears mentally. I would just find the girl who is basically Jiraiya reborn. He sighed and brought her clothes and whispered, stay behind after class and I'll let you have the next in the series for a favor. Haruna gave him a star-eyed expression and grabbed his shirt. Do you mean it? She asked, sounding desperate as Naruto nodded and the girl kissed him on the cheek before running off. What was all that about? Nigi asked. Naruto chuckled at his college's density with woman. What about her question? Asuna-san. Asuna-san. Shouted Nigi, and Naruto chuckled at Nigi's ecstatic expression as he watched the redhead run up to Asuna, where he began to talk excitedly. What do you want? Asuna asked with a slight growl. Nigi's smile did not leave his face. I did it, I actually did it. Asuna went from angry to confused. You did what? Love potion, Nigi replied, the love potion. Asuna stood up and began to walk away. I told you I don't want it. Naruto took a step back, knowing this would be trouble, as Chizuru walked over to him. How are you, Naruto-sensei? She asked, smiling. He turned to her and smiled back. I'm fine, Chizuru-chan, and you? He asked back. Good, seems sensei is in better spirits than before, she commented, seeing Nigi looking happy. Yeah, Nigi is a little like me, gets back up if he falls down. It's a god quality, he said, smiling at Nigi's direction. How's living with Zazie-san? She asked curiously. Nice, in all honesty, she's easy to talk to and quite good at cooking. I'm glad she's my roommate, he said. Chizuru smiled, but her eyebrow twitched in annoyance and jealousy. I'm happy for you, Naruto-sensei, she said as Naruto noticed her eyebrow betraying her smile. He was about to ask her about it when he heard you drink it from Asuna as she tried to force the potion back to Nigi, but slipped and it flew into Naruto's mask behind her. He tasted the potion and gagged on the taste once he swallowed it, and he pulled the bottle out his mouth. Naruto-nai, are you alright? Cried Nigi as Naruto got to his feet. I'm fine, but that tasted horrible. Please be more careful, Asuna-chan, he replied as he sent a pleading look at Asuna. Said girl blushed a bit. It's not my fault and nothing's even happening, she said with a shrug, only to hear a loud Naruto-kun as Chizuru wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck. I wish you were staying with me instead, Naruto-kun, you are rather handsome. Naruto's face went red as Chizuru's breasts pushed into his chest, and while he would have preferred to enjoy the sensation, he figured she wasn't in the right state of mind. Oh no, now Naruto-nai will attract every girl that sees him. Oh crap. Asuna just now realized that she just threw all her classmates at a teen boy, and blushing as the girl pushed herself into Naruto. Chizuru, it's not right for to have a teacher-student relationship, Kid said, speaking up from her book of ancient ninja clans. But I can't help myself, Chizuru said, spinning a blushing Naruto, not that he disapproved of it all. Huh? Oh wow. Kid grabbed his arm, pushing her chest against it, giving him a very pleasant sensation. Naruto-sensei, please train with me now, Kid said under the love potion spell. You've got to be kidding, muttered Asuna. Oh sensei. Three girls behind Asuna yelled with stars in their eyes. At this, Naruto knew he had to get out of there, so substituted with Nigi and ran out the room as several girls called Naruto-kun. He ran through the halls, avoiding many of the girls, knowing that their infatuation at the moment was the result of magic. Naruto-kun. He looked to his left to see Kid running right next to him and was oddly impressed by her speed despite his situation, before picking up the space and hiding in a nearby room and shutting the room. Should be safe in here for a bit, he said to himself. Naruto-sensei, he turned to see Kazumi. Oh no, Kazumi-chan, I'm kind of hiding from the other girls, do you mind if I stay here? He asked, having walked into the AV club room where she developed film. Sure sensei, as long as I get a full interview later, she said, getting a nod. He hid behind the door and Kazumi stood next to him as her face reddened and she started to feel hot. So I take it, you take a lot of, Naruto was saying as he turned to his student to find her unbuttoning her shirt to show a sizable chest. K Kazumi-chan, what are you doing? As he tried to back away. I want an in-depth interview now, Naruto-kun, and I want you to learn a few things about me too, she said as Naruto tripped and fell over onto the floor and Kazumi began straddling his waist. Kazumi-chan, could you please get off? He asked, nervous, and tried to shift out from under her, only to find that she held a firm hold with her legs. No can do, Naruto-kun, I want my interview and you're not leaving until you tell me everything. I can be very persuasive, she said as she unbuttoned the rest of her chest to reveal her black bra and perky breasts. What are you doing? Suddenly the door to the room was kicked in and Kazumi was hit in her head by the door and getting knocked unconscious. Naruto looked at the door to see Asuna standing there with Nigi behind her. "Oh Asuna-chan, thank Kami you're here," he said, getting out only to get punched in the face and knocked out himself. "Asuna, there was no need to do that," said Nigi as he caught up with Asuna. "You said the fastest way to break the spell was to knock him out," she defended with a blush, seeing the state Kazumi was in. "I know, but," stammered Nigi. Naruto was rubbing his head as he walked with Nigi and the others. "Did you really have to hit me so hard, Asuna-chan?" he asked. She huffed and blushed, remembering the state she found him. "And I did have a choice, besides I'm surprised you ran with all those girls around you, it's most boys' dream, and another thing, what is your head made of?" she said. Naruto shook his head. "It may be most boys' dream to be chased by several beautiful girls, but I knew it wasn't real, so it was unfair, since that love was fake love from a bottle. Also, I'd rather wait for people who truly like me to approach me for things other than my looks. Until then, me and my lips will be untouched. And to answer your other question, I've always had a hard head," he finished. Asuna blinked over what he just said and picked out a particular fact. "You mean you've never been kissed on the lips ever?" she asked. He turned to her and shook his head again. "Never in my life. Suppose it's strange, but I don't really care. A kiss is a sign of affection between two people and only to be shared to convey feelings of trust or compassion," he said, shocking the girl. "You aren't your regular teenage boy, are you, Naruto?" said Asuna, electing a smile from him. "I was always known for being unpredictable in my life. Just hope any girl that wants to be with me can accept a few things," he said, meaning several things, as he walked off. He ended up back in class where Haruna was waiting and getting impatient by the amount of foot tapping she was doing, but smiled when he walked in. "Come walk with me, Haruna, and I'll talk to you about that book," he said as the girl hurriedly got by to his side. As they were heading for the dean's office, he handed the next book in the Icha series. "I really shouldn't be giving you this, but the writer wanted the book to be read, and it's probably no use hiding it from you," he, as the girl was already reading through the first page while drooling. "Wait, you know the writer of this masterpiece, sensei?" asked Haruna, making Naruto nod in confirmation. "He was my godfather, a self-proclaimed super pervert. Something tells me you'd have liked each other," he replied, smiling at the memory of the old sage. "Is he still writing these?" she asked hopefully. Naruto shook his head. "He died some time ago, but I promised myself that I would continue his work when he left me the rights." Haruna gasped and tried to apologize, but Naruto waved her off. "If you'd like, I'll let you read the stories I come up with so you can tell me your thoughts. I'll pay you, of course, for your work," he said. "Sure sensei, I'd love to," she said happily. "Alright, then you head home and read your new book, Haruna-chan, but keep it out of the other girls' hands or tell people I own the rights to it. I'd rather not have an army of fans after me," he said jokingly. "Hi, sensei, I'll do that, but my roommates are bookworms so they might get hold of it, just in case," she warned, making him nod as he knocked on the door of the dean's office and head inside. Later in his room, Zazie and a few Naruto clones were studying magic books Konoman had given them and learning spells quite fast, although Zazie seemed to have a quicker start than Naruto did, but overall a good start. Naruto was thinking that the academy had a bathhouse and wanted to check it out. "Zazie-chan, any chance you could show me where the bathhouse you have here is? I want to try it out if that's okay," he asked. She said, "Sure, I don't mind you joining me, better going in with someone, otherwise I could be messy if any of the girls find me there," he responded. She asked with a tinge of pink on her cheeks. "Yeah, you can help wash my back and I'll return the favor to you, Zazie-chan," he said as he got up and dispelled the clones and shook his head from the memory feedback and retrieved a pair of swim trunks and a towel. He turned to see Zazie with her bath supplies at the ready. "Led the way, Zazie-chan," he said with a smile as the girl nodded and grabbed his free hand and pulled him in the direction of the bathhouse. "Wow," said Naruto as he looked over the very large bathhouse he was looking at in just his swimming trunks and Zazie in a school swimsuit. She asked. "No, most springs I saw when I was younger were nowhere near this size," he replied. They got in and relaxed into the hot water, letting the fatigue of the day's activities wash off. Zazie was glancing at Naruto's body and once again took note of all the scars he had, but also his lean and hard muscles he had. "If you're curious, you can ask about the scars," Zazie-chan commented Naruto with one eye open. She said, "It's alright, I know some of them look bad, but honestly how I got them was not something I want to experience again, especially this one," he said, pointing to the large scar near his heart. Asked Zazie, getting a nod from Naruto as she got behind him and began to wash his back. She asked as he moved her hands over his back muscles, blushing slightly. "When I was younger, I learned several languages on my own. You see, I grew up an orphan and back then I wasn't looked at favorably, and so most of what I learned, language and pretty much everything else, I picked up watching others. It was tough, but it made me appreciate things more, and that's odd when you're 3 years old," he finished. She said as she worked on his shoulders. "Konoman-san wanted me to watch over the class with Nigi, and it gave me a purpose when I had none. But enough about that, I think it's my turn to wash your back, Zazie-chan," he sighed as the girl nodded and turned round. As he worked on washing her back, Naruto took note of the healthy figure of Zazie and could tell she exercised often, no doubt with her nightmare circus activities. Her body type was slim but beautiful and admired her curves that suited her, while Zazie enjoyed the feeling she was getting from Naruto's fingers but still wondered about Naruto since it sounded like he had a tough life before he became a Hanyu, since he'd said once he wasn't always a Hanyu. What are you so embarrassed about? You're just a kid. Naruto and Zazie looked at each other for a moment before moving to the far side of the bath, finding a place to hide for a moment. Come on, take off those clothes. Pretty soon Asuna came out in a black bathing suit with a naked Negi. She then proceeded to throw him into the pool. That was when Naruto decided to make himself known. Hey Asuna-chan. What are you doing stripping Negi? Asked Naruto. Asuna's eyes widened in shock as she turned to see Naruto and Zazie looking at her with identical questioning expressions. She was about to say something when she noticed Naruto's state of dress. His chest was bereft of a shirt again, showing lean, hard muscles that only come with a lot of exercise. She blushed as she watched several drops of water trail down his well-defined pectoral muscles and then over his washboard abs. Unfortunately for her, Naruto noticed this. Is there something wrong, Asuna-chan? You seem to be blushing quite a bit. Asuna blush increased tenfold at being caught staring. I am not. Anyway, what are you two doing here and together no less? Zazie-chan was showing me the bathhouse and helping to wash my back. Why, it's not exactly a crime, Asuna-chan. Besides, you still haven't answered my question about Negi there, he said as if it was obvious. The brat was stinking up the room, so I dragged him here to clean him. Asuna raised her hands to show that she had a bar of soap, a towel, and some hair conditioner. That's right, say goodbye to 10 years of filth, little man. Asuna smirked. Naruto turned to Zazie, who nodded. Need some help, Asuna-chan? Naruto asked, getting an appreciative smile from Asuna. Sure, Naruto should make things go smoothly, she said, keeping a hold on Negi as he tried to run. After that they talked for a while, and Naruto learned that like him, Asuna's parents were dead. Apparently Kanoka's grandfather had been helping the girl. But she did not want to be dependent on him, something Naruto could understand, and so had taken up doing a paper route job to earn money for tuition. Naruto was actually impressed with her desire to pay her way instead of mooching off of others, something he himself had learned the value of when he was living on his own in Konoha. This story had also affected Negi like most sob stories do, and the two had gotten into something of a fight since Asuna did not want any form of pity from her 10-year-old teacher. Fortunately or unfortunately, the fight was stopped when voices were heard outside, voices which Negi and Asuna recognized and decided to hide in order to avoid a scene, whereas Naruto was laying by the side, eyes closed, and Zazie washing her hair. The girls came in and due to overhanging branches was hid from view, and oddly enough he heard the oddest thing. We should have a boob contest. Whoever has the biggest boobs to room with Negi-sensei. Yu said in her normally and small voice. What about Naruto-sensei? Kid asked. You got it bad for Naruto-sensei, don't you? Kazumi asked with her grin, not remembering the state she was in after the effects of the potion, thanks to Asuna addressing her thankfully. Maybe Digazeru, she said, scratching the back of her head. After some more talk on the girls' side, alright, we're in agreement to different contest, one for Negi and the other for Naruto. Everyone nodded. Alright, for Negi-sensei it's a boob contest, whoever has the biggest boobs in class 2 will get Negi. There will be some factors to consider. For Naruto, it'll be a tournament winner get Naruto. All agreed. Kazumi, the database of 2 finished off. Hey, all girls who want to get Negi will be on the left, the girls who want Naruto on the right. Kazumi said. And the girls moved to their chosen side. Well, for Negi-sensei we have Ayaka, Meiki, Nodoka, Kufei, Eiko and Kanoka. And for Naruto-sensei Chizuru, Kid, Mana, Haruna, Akira and Zazie. Where did you come from? She asked as the girl spoke. What do you mean you were already here with Naruto-sensei? Asked Ayaka, one of the few who could understand Zazie's way of speaking. The girl's response was to point to Naruto, who was still relaxing in the pool. Hello class, I would get out and greet you, but I currently have my eyes closed for your benefit, he said, waving as the girls who were on Naruto's side blushed very red except Zazie. I must say it's nice to feel appreciated like that, so thanks girls. I'll wait until you're finished to get out, so please don't mind me, he said as a few of the girls got into the same pool as him, seeing as he was being respectful of their situation. Seeing a distraction thanks to Naruto. Asuna and Negi had tried to make break for it and ended up tripping over each other, the end result being Asuna straddling Negi. This of course led to a fight with Asuna and Ayaka, which somehow or other led to Negi to using his wind magic on Asuna. Asuna's breast soon grew extremely large before exploding, and when Naruto heard the noise he couldn't help but look to see what was going on. The last thing Naruto saw before being blown back from a nosebleed hitting his head against the sty were the nude bodies of Class 2A. A few minutes later Naruto woke up and was immediately looking at the faces of a concerned Chizuru and Zazie. What happened? He asked as he sat up. Said Zazie, oh, okay, so you dragged me out the pool after I blacked out. Thanks girls, he said, smiling. You can understand Zazie-san. Naruto-sensei? Asked Chizuru. No sensei out of class Chizuru-chan, just Naruto or Naruto-kun, and yes it's easy you just have to listen he said getting up and seeing that most of the girls had left and only a few were by the side watching him. Mainly the ones who had been on his side during the contest. Is everything alright girls? He asked noticing the stares of concern. It's nothing Naruto-kun we were just worried that you hit your head quite hard before with that incident with Asuna and Nigi Bozu said Kid wrapped in a towel as she bent down and checked his head for injuries, giving him a view of her cleavage. I see he said blushing at his view remained calm and they won't hit you he thought to himself, hoping this wouldn't end when Jiraiya had thrown him to the wolves during his research escapades. Well your head doesn't have any marks so you should be fine, Digazeru said Kid smiling as she noted Naruto's blush. Naruto walked out to get changed thinking it feels nice having them all worry, even if I haven't known them long. Just hope I don't end up in too many itchy-worthy situations. Sadly Naruto would indeed find himself in those positions in the future, but none of which would end like he expected. Chapter end. Naruto was currently in classroom with Zazie as they had walked there together as usual, but he was playing one of his instruments he's bought recently which was a bamboo flute, the tune being a very zen-like piece. Naruto remembered the events of the day before where he and Zazie had watched a dodgeball game that Nigi played in with his students and the high school girls yesterday. Eva, Chachimaru and a few others of the students, along with himself stayed out of it. They watched as the girls were fighting to save their teacher. They fought to the death, or would have if it was to the death. They won and saved Nigi from the high school girls, although some of them wanted him instead and wanted a rematch, but the girls denied them of that request. Much to Naruto's liking, they do care about him. He almost shed a tear while he and Zazie had just enjoyed the show with a few birds sitting beside them with no worry. Naruto knew it wasn't just him and Zazie in the room at the moment, in fact they had come early to greet someone who was already there sitting at her desk still. Enjoying the music Ghost-san he said getting the white-haired spirit's attention. You can see me? She asked in disbelief. He smiled. We both can right Zazie-chan. The girl nodded as a bird landed on her shoulder. Naruto smirked as Zazie seemed naturally in tune with nature despite her heritage. The two of them had been progressing well with their studies and beginning to think up their own activation words for spells. Naruto felt a chill pass through him as the ghost phased right through him as she attempted a hug. The ghost looked down at the ground as several translucent ghost-like tears began to come out of her eyes. Naruto winced knowing what it was like to be alone, but had an idea of what to do as he covered his boy in chakra and magic, then proceeded to hug the girl holding her to his chest. It's alright I'm here he muttered as he brushed his hand through her hair. The girl sobbed at this since she hadn't been able to touch anyone in so long and was sick of being alone, but the first person to see her was able to touch her. She wanted to question how but just wanted to hold on to the feeling at the moment as Zazie smiled at the scene, thinking Naruto was a truly caring person. After a while the girl stopped sobbing and wiped her eyes of the tears. You okay now Seo-chan? He asked since he recognized the girl from the school roster. The girl nodded. You seem lonely here, do you mind if I and Zazie-chan became your friends? He asked only for the girl to hug him again of course. As the other students came in Naruto sat down and began reading a manga that Haruna had suggested for him called Bleach and he honestly liked it even if the main character seemed to scowl too much at times. Seo was reading over his shoulder resting her chin on his shoulder as he channeled his energy around his body so she could touch him. It let him practice control over his magic reserves that were large like his chakra ones, as well as not let the girl feel alone, a good 2-for-1 in his opinion. Naruto looked up at Nigi with amusement as the boy tried to get Miki to translate for him. It was sometimes easy to forget that Nigi taught English, which for some reason was one of the harder things to learn for a lot of Japanese students. Of course Ayaka seemed to be more than eager to help Nigi translate, most likely to gain his little college's affections. He smiled at this since despite being seen wrongly, he could tell she genuinely liked the boy, even if he was 10. Meanwhile in the dean's office I see so Nigi-kun is doing well. The old headmaster brought a hand to his beard. Yes Mr. Principal, Shizuna said, he gets along great with his students and he does his best with the course. You wouldn't think he was 10 years old. As the guidance counselor I'd have to pass him as a teacher she answered. I see. And how is Naruto-kun doing? Konoman asked. Despite his young age he acts mature and helps out the students if they don't understand the way Nigi-kun has explained it, he puts it in a way that lets them figure it out on their own, so they learn from the experience. The girls seem to enjoy having him with them, especially since they seem more comfortable talking to him about some of their more personal problems than they do Nigi. I honestly don't think you could force him out of here without the girls starting an uprising she finished. I think it's time I set them both a test Konoman said stroking his beard while hiding his signed copy of Icha under the table from Shizuna, one that can test both their magical potential he said, getting a confused look from the nurse. Naruto-kun can use magic? She asked. Yes I came to me asking for books and he said he found one of the magically aware students to help him out. I think this will be a good way of evaluating both of them he said. Breeks. Naruto and Nigi were walking along the hall with Yuna and Maki, Naruto currently in a discussion with a blushing Yuna about basketball, since he was curious about the sports there were in the school. Maki was humming a happy tune, and Nigi was in thought as he looked at the other classes. All those other classes seem to be working really hard, Nigi said. Ah. That's right. Yuna said as she stopped her conversation with Naruto. It's almost time for the end of the term exam for us middle scholars, she continued, getting nods from the two teachers. It's next Monday, Nigi-kun. Make added her input in her typical cheerful voice. End of the term's exams, eh? Nigi mumbled with a shocked expression, must be pretty tough. He trailed off as if he just remembered something. Wait a second, Tu has to take those exams as well, is it okay just to slack off like this? He asked in a panic. Yuna just waved it off. Ahaha, our school is an escalator school, so it doesn't really matter, she said, rubbing the back of her head. Maki smiled as she slapped Nigi on the back, especially Tu, we're always the worst class in the year, but somehow it all turns out okay. While Nigi looked like he was about to freak out, Naruto noticed an odd-looking trophy. It had what looked like a golden bouquet on top of a plaque stand. What's that flower trophy for? Naruto asked. Maki said as she saw where Naruto-kun was looking, that goes to the class that does the best in the test, she explained, and Naruto began thinking like Nigi of how to motivate the students into getting the trophy. You think we can put this class on the other end of the table, Nigi? Asked Naruto. Hi, I'm sure we can do it, Naruto Nai, he said happily as Shizuna came behind them both. Naruto-sensei, Nigi-sensei, she called, making both wave to her. Hello Shizuna-sensei, what can we do for you? Asked Nigi politely. The dean asked me to give this to you, she replied. My final task, Nigi yelled. The envelope said teacher in training Nigi final task. Naruto looked over at the letter and saw that the test was for class 2, not to be the worst scoring class this year. He looked back to Nigi, who seemed to be panicking. Come on Nigi, where's that focus teacher I work with now? He said, holding his shoulder with his right hand. It worked as he calmed down. Let's join the class then, shall we? He said as he opened the door for Nigi, and he took his seat and opened his manga to the previously read page for him and Seo as she got back to her position on his shoulder, smiling. Today we'll be having a big cram session for the homeroom period. Nigi shouted with frantic excitement. It's almost time for the end of the term exams. He began waving his hands about furiously as he spoke. Naruto sighed as he figured Nigi would have a bit of a panic attack, but knew he would have to learn to deal with it. Actually something really bad will happen if we're the worst class in the year again. Everyone, let's give it our best shot and study as hard as we can. Nigi-sensei, that's a wonderful suggestion, Ayaka spoke with her hands in a prayer sign as she looked at him in adoration. I've got a suggestion. Sakurako, one of the cheerleaders, shouted as she raised her hand. Yes, Sakurako-san? Asked Nigi, glad to know that someone had an idea for studying because he was stumped. Let's do an English phrase study. Her happy voice resounded through the room. Yakukin. To this, Naruto took a moment to realize that Sakurako was essentially talking about a strip version of rock paper scissors or English questions in this case. Before he could interject, Nigi said, well then let's begin. Nigi said with great enthusiasm, making Naruto face palm at the boy's lack of Japanese translation skills. He nodded to Seo, who understood and went over to her seat as Naruto walked over to Nigi, who was looking at a chart as the girls began questioning each other. He saw that a few girls of the class were high up in the rating, including Chizuru and Kazumi. However, a lot of the class were in the lower half, and then there were the self-proclaimed Baka Rangers. Kufei, Kid, Yu, Maki and Asuna. Naruto realized, as did Nigi, that the situation looked a bit bad for them at the moment. Naruto caught something that was thrown at him and found it was a bra. He turned to the class to find the Baka Rangers stripped down to their bra and panties, Maki and Asuna without bras, making Naruto figure he was holding Asuna's due to cup size. Nigi gaped and grew extremely flustered as Naruto blushed and discreetly admired Kid and Asuna, who were the two girls with the best figures out of the 5.wh. What the heck are you all doing? Nigi screamed. Sakurako answered in a happy voice, if you can't answer you have to strip. It's Yakukin. Seriously Nigi, you need to get better with your Japanese so you don't have this kind of mishap, Naruto said. So it's those 5 who did the worst it seems, said Naruto, covering his eyes with his manga to Nigi, suddenly hearing Baka Rangers assemble from Kid. He peeked to see 3 of the girls in a strange pose that he found quite funny, reminded him of what he used to do. At this rate I'm going to fail and leave the country, muttered Nigi, only for Naruto to hit him the back of the head. Don't be so quick to dismiss your students, Nigi, they can surprise you in many ways, he said as he turned to the class. Alright girls, that's enough of this game, since Asuna-chan has nothing left and I think she wants her clothes back on, he said, sending an apologetic look to the girl who nodded blushing as she collected her clothes. Naruto took Nigi outside so he could calm down from the craziness of his class. What should I do? At this rate he panicked. Naruto held his shoulders. Nigi, deep breath, he told him as the boy did so. I remember now, there's a forbidden magic that makes a person super smart for 3 days, he said, remembering the spell. The only side effect is that everyone goes PA in about a month. But there's no helping that now, he said, about to cast said spell only to be hit in the back of the head by Naruto and a now clothed Asuna. Don't even think about it, Nigi, that's not an option, said Naruto, crossing his arms. What kind of idiotic plan is it this time? Get over here right now, she said, pulling him to the stairs as Naruto followed. What the hell is wrong with you? Doing something crazy at a time like this, stop relying on magic all the time. She shouted and would have said more had not Naruto interjected. Now Asuna-chan, please don't be too hard on him. I'll admit his actions are childish and irresponsible, but you have to remember he is still that, a child, he said as she calmed down a bit. Nigi got embarrassed and began poking his fingers together. But if we remain the worst class, I won't be able to be a teacher or a great mage, he mumbled. Asuna handed him a notebook which showed her improving test scores. Amazing, you really can do it, even though these are still pretty bad marks, said Nigi, and got a flick in the head for the last remark. I've been helping her and the other 4 rangers in the after-class lessons, Nigi, they can all do it, trust me, he said, even I'm trying my best. Sheesh, wasn't it you that said courage is the real magic? Asuna added. I don't know about your ambition to be a mage or whatever, but having someone who only half-heartedly wants to teach for a homeroom teacher. I'd feel sorry for the students. Well, see you, she said as Naruto nodded and followed her back to class, and Nigi had a spark of realization to which he ran outside. Spreeks. Later on at the bathhouse, Naruto had the luck again to be taking his bath when the other girls joined him. Thankfully, years of traveling with Uraya had taught him to always carry a blindfold for situations like this. The girls were pleased and thankful for their sensei's consideration and continued with their baths, albeit with blushed as they stared at Naruto's body. Asuna, bug news, shouted Konoha as she arrived with Yu, Nodoka and Haruna, the latter immediately slipping by Naruto's side to her pleasure and stares from the others. What is it, Konoha? Asked Asuna, taking note of Haruna smiling very happily. There's been a rumor going round at the school. The class that scores lowest in the exam will be broken up, she said. The other girls were shocked at this, and a few turned to Naruto to ask who sensed this. Before you ask, the class won't be broken up if you score lowest. The girls sighed in relief. If you score lowest, Nigi is fired, he said bluntly. What do you mean Nigi-sensei will get fired? Asked Konoha. Apparently the dean set him the task to see if he had what it took to teach the class. Konoha-chan, he replied. But what happens to you, Naruto-sensei? Asked Haruna beside him, concerned. I didn't ask, but I probably won't be able to teach the class either. I'd have to ask the dean, he told her as the girls began to panic. This is bad, we're the ones who dragged down the class, said a frantic Maki. Even if we study ourselves to death we won't make it by Monday, Eru, said Kufei. Asuna on the other hand was thinking, out of us, I'm the one dragging the class down the most. If it's come to this, then maybe we'll have to go look for that thing after all, said Yu, perking Naruto's curiosity. What is it? Do you have a solution, Yu? Said Asuna. You guys know about Library Island is right? It's where our library expedition club goes, said Yu, sipping her juice box and getting nods from the Baka Rangers. Yeah, that giant building that floats in the middle of the lake, right? Said Asuna. The truth is, deep within Library Island there is apparently a magic book that makes the reader more intelligent, she told them, shocking them all, including Naruto. Well, I've always just thought it was some really good textbook or something. But still it'd be a pretty useful thing to have, she continued. Oh, Yu, that's just an urban legend, said Haruna, brushing off the idea. There are a lot of weird people in our class, but there can't really be such a thing as magic, can there, added Maki. I say we all go, came the voice of Naruto, surprising them. What's most legends hold some truth, so why not, and if I take you all wouldn't have to worry too much, he explained, earning nods of approval from Asuna and Yu. Spreeks. The Baka Rangers, the underground communications team, Haruna, Konoha and Nodoka, and 2 teachers of Tua, stood outside the secret entrance to Library Island. This school really does have some amazing things, doesn't it? Said Naruto, more awake than Nigi was. Poor boy, indeed, but be careful as the lower levels of the library are off limits and said to have traps and stuff down there, warned Yu. Seems a bit much for a library, Digazeru, said Keed. I'm sure we and the other can handle things, Keed-chan, he said as the girl grinned. Asuna turned and whispered to Nigi, Nigi, make sure you protect us with your magic, just in case, she asked for added safety. Oh, my magic kind of sealed it, he said bashfully. The groups walked down a set of stairs to come to a room that really did define the word library. Naruto himself had never seen so many books in one place. This is basement level 3 of Library Island. It said that us middle scholars are forbidden to go any further than this, said Yu with her juice box in place. Asuna-san, please take a look at this. This book is very rare, said Nigi, reaching for said book, only to have an arrow shot out which was caught between Naruto's fingers. Careful, Nigi, usually their protection for rare books like these, even if this is a bit much, he said, snapping the arrow in two as Nigi, Asuna and Maki panicked over the real arrow trap. "This is you, we've reached basement level 3, said Yu to the other group above ground by the way, just why are we coming down here?" asked Negi. After explaining why they were there, "There's a magic book here, and it makes the reader smarter," he shouted. "That's about the size of it, help us sensei," were the comments of Konoha and Maki. "Hey Asuna-san, didn't you tell me today not to rely on magic," said Negi, flailing his arms about as Naruto ruffled his hair to stop his ranting. "Easy Negi, let her speak," he said to the boy. "It's an emergency this time, so let me off the hook without the lecture just this once. Besides, Naruto said we should go ahead with it," she said as Negi looked at said teen. "What?" he said. "Hey Yu-chan, how much further do we have to walk?" asked Maki as Yu took out her map. "I secretly took this map from the club room. It's supposed to be a treasure map. Right now we're here, if we go down to the basement level 11 and head along this underground passage, it seems we'll reach the book," she explained. "It looks like it'll take 4 hours for the round trip, and right now it's 7 PM, said Asuna. "We should make it back in time for bed, right?" asked Maki. "Okay, if this all works out, us can stop them from firing Negi. We're coming to get you, magic book," said Asuna, pumping her fist. As they made their way through the library, Naruto learned that some of the girls had abilities that he felt were very unusual for girls that were not ninja. Such as Maki's use of her ribbon to catch herself from falling, or Kufei using her martial arts to destroy a rigged bookshelf as he and Kid caught the falling books. Negi, on the other hand, was showing that without his magic, he really was just a kid. He smiled, however, as Asuna looked after him and kept him from doing anything stupid. "Negi, your hand is freezing, are you cold?" she asked as she helped him out of the bookshelf. "Just a little," he said, shivering a bit. "It's because we brought you along in your pajamas," she sighed as she took off her coat and put it on him. "Look here, put this on." She looked up only to find Naruto giving her a grateful smile. Asuna looked away as a blush stained her cheeks. "Asuna, considering you said you hated kids, you've sure been kind to Negi-kun lately, haven't you?" Konoha said with a bright smile. "So, why the change in heart?" Well, there's no helping it, is there?" she asked as the image of a smiling Naruto caused her to blush again. "This guy lost his ma." She stopped herself just before she could let out that Negi was a mage. Yu took out her headset as Nodoka contacted them. "This is the above ground team. There's a rest stop right ahead of you, so please take a break soon and have your packed lunches." "Alright," Kid said with a smile, "we've been waiting for this Eru." Kufei shouted as she ran to the rest stop. The group sat down and took out their food while Naruto used a previous skill to his advantage. Seals. He pulled out a large bento box he had made from seals on his wrists, shocking the girls. "How did you do that, Eru?" asked Kufei, seeing the lavish spread of food he had. "Old ninja skill," he said off-headedly, to which Kid opened one of her eyes. "Seal?" she asked, getting a nod as he offered her some food from his, which she accepted. Taking a bite, she immediately loved it. "Naruto-sensei, who taught you to cook? This is delicious." "Digazeru?" asked Kid. Naruto smiled as cooking was one of the few skills he'd learned early on and was happy for the praise. "Taught myself, honestly, and I'm glad you like it. Would anyone else like to try?" he asked, getting nods. The group all agreed with Kid that his food was delicious. "Naruto-sensei, oh, you mind giving me the recipes for some of the dishes here? I'd love to try and cook them," asked Konoha. "Sure, I'll get them to you once our trip is over," he replied as her smile grew. "What else can you cook, Digazeru?" asked Kid. "A number of things really, but my favorite to make is ramen, since it was the first thing I learned to make," he told her, remembering the cookbook Am had given him at age 4. "Can you do miso, Digazeru?" she asked hopefully. He smiled. "You name the ramen, I can make it. I'll be happy to make a batch when we get back, Kid-chan," he answered, making her blush for his thoughtfulness. They soon found their way again on the map and ended up climbing into the bookshelves as they continued across the library. Eventually they had gotten to a small tunnel where they had to crawl through. Naruto was behind Kid and he swore she was purposefully stopping abruptly so that he got a good look at her panties. "Yu-chan, are we there yet?" asked Naruto, trying not to stare at the girls behind. "In front of him, just a little bit further to go," she replied. "Our senpais from the university branch of the club can't fit into spaces like these. This means that we, the middle school club, are the first to explore this place," she told them. "Exciting really being the first," commented Naruto, getting a nod from Yu. She looked back at them. "It's a testament to the athletic ability of the Baka Rangers that we made it this far. Congratulations." She pointed to a grate. "Come, the book is up ahead." They lifted up a grate and found themselves in a large room with 2 stone golems, one with a hammer and one with a sword. Amazing. This place is unbelievable." Asuna shouted. "Is this for real?" Naruto was looking at it and was surprised but felt like something was going to happen. "I've seen this place before, Eru." Kufei shouted. "On my brother's PlayStation. It's the last boss chamber, Eru." "It's the vault of the magic book," Yu stated with a small smile. "We made it." Naruto put a hand on her shoulder as a way of saying well done. To think such a place was right under our school." Asuna laughed as she looked around. "Look. There's the book." Negi shouted as he pointed to the altar in front of the doors. "That's the legendary book of Merkisadak," he continued. You mean it's the real thing? Asuna asked in shock. Real thing, Nigi shouted in disbelief, this is a magical text of the highest level. It's true that you might become a bit smarter by reading it, but it's not as simple as. Nigi-kun really knows his stuff, doesn't he? Konoha asked. Well then let's go. Asuna shouted as she and the other girls ran off towards the book, but Naruto's senses were tingling. Everyone stop it, likely to be protected if it's a valuable book, he shouted as he, Nigi and Konoha ran after them, only for the bridge they were walking on open up, making them fall into a pit. Naruto and Kid landed on their feet while everyone else fell on their asses. Everyone okay? He asked, getting groans. Asuna rubbed her head before looking at the ground. This is she started Twister, Maki finished as they looked at the Twister board under them. Ho, everyone looked up to see the two stone golems had come alive and were now facing them. If you want this book, you'll have to answer my questions first. Ho. WH, what the hell? The statues are moving. Asuna yelled in shock. First question, the golem said, what is the English translation for difficult? Everyone calm down. Nigi said, it'll be okay. If you answer the questions properly, we should be able to get out of this trap. He pointed to the twister board, just press the corresponding translation letters for difficult. As the game went on, the girls were giving correct answers, but they ended up in more and more provocative positions. Naruto discreetly made a small note in his ideas book. Finally they got to the last question, final question, what's the translation for dish? The golem asked. I got it, it's Asara, said Asuna in her twisted position. Asara, okay, said Maki as she and Asuna moved to the right spaces to spell the translation. Osara, they spelled only to press the pa for ru by mistake. Wrong, ho, said the golem as he lifted the hammer and smashed the platform they were standing on. Asuna, you monkey, shouted Kufei as they fell. As they were falling, Naruto had to act quickly before any of the girls were injured. Thankfully it was dark in the tunnel, so he released his tails and had them grab onto everyone. He reached out and grabbed Kid as she fell in front of him and held her and everyone close as the ground came fast. This is going to hurt a lot, he said as he braced for the hit. Splash. Sbreaks. What's going on down there? Haruna asked. Please reply, Nodoka said into the headset was the response. Awawawa. What should we do? What should we do? Haruna began to freak out. We've got to contact someone, Nodoka reasoned, but everyone's asleep at this hour. Sbreaks. The next morning in the deepest part of Library Island, everyone was waking up. Where are we? Asked Asuna. I remember now, the golem sent us down here after we failed the English phrase twister trap, said Nigi, as everyone took note of their surroundings. Just where the hell is this? Asuna shouted. Wait, where's Naruto-sensei? Asked Konoha, reminding everyone that someone wasn't there, and they made a quick search, and you spotted him at the edge of the water. There he is, he shouted, getting the other attention. Naruto-sensei, nai, they shouted, seeing him. Kid and Asuna went down and brought him up and could see that he was breathing, but as they carried him, Kid gave him a look over and lifted his shirt to look at his back to see a large bruise on his back where he had impacted the water. Naruto's eyes began to open after a few minutes. Is everyone alright? He asked as his body began repairing the damage, but he was still in a lot of pain from the fall. Naruto-sensei, we're fine, but what about you? Zero asked Kid, concerned. I've been through worse, but it's good to see you all okay, he said with a smile. Kid hugged him to his confusion. Thanks for saving us from the fall, Zero, she said before helping him to his feet. I always look after those important to me, and all the class is important to me. She smiled at his notion. Sbreaks. Meanwhile at the school, Ayaka and the other girls of class 2A were studying hard so that they would not lose their teachers. Knowing what would happen should they fail, they were working twice as hard as normal to bring up their grades. At any rate, we're going to study properly until the exams and pull this class out of the last ranking. Ayaka, who had taken to leading in Nigi and Naruto's absence, shouted. Even you guys over there who don't bother trying. She pointed to some of the girls. Just then the door slammed open and in came Nodoka and Haruna. Everyone, we've got a big problem, shouted Haruna. Nigi-sensei, Naruto-sensei and the Baka Rangers have gone missing. Nodoka screamed frantically. Sbreaks. A little later, Nigi and Naruto were helping the girls study. Between the two of them, the girls were getting a little better. They would occasionally get textbooks from the area. Though Nigi found it weird that not only did they have all the books they needed, but also a good food supply. But it's a little strange, isn't it? Started Nigi. The circumstances are pretty convenient considering we're supposed to be underground. Not only do we have all the textbooks, but also a toilet and kitchen. It even comes with food supplies. Kufei smiled as she nibbled on a meat bun she found. The accommodations here are very nice. Warm and surrounded by books, Konoha sighed happily as she leaned back on a suntan bench reading. This really is a paradise, she continued, relaxing with you next to her. I wouldn't mind staying here for the rest of my life, you agreed, sipping on a non-fruit drink. You say that, but what about your friends, Yu-chan? Asked Naruto, reading his manga sitting down wearing just his shirt and pants due to the warm climate. Maybe, she muttered as he laughed. Maki, Kufei and Kid had walked off to take a wash as Naruto, Konoha and Yu continued their reading. How come you're just reading those manga, Haruna suggested Naruto-sensei. Asked Yu, sipping her fruit drink. I did enough reading to get me all the skills I'd ever need when I was Nigi's age. I think I earned the chance to read something that doesn't need to be learned, he said, turning the page of volume 3 of Bleach. How many skills do you have, sensei? Asked Konoha. Enough, he said simply. They then heard a small scream. I think that was Nigi. Better check on him, said Naruto, figuring that Nigi had probably walked on the girls changing or something. He walked off and found his prediction to be partially true. The only difference was the girls were naked. The scene had shocked him as he tripped into the water. Right now my shirt is wet, he said, getting then felt something soft press into his back. Didn't know you wanted to join us, Naruto-kun. Digazeru said Kid from behind Naruto, who had a tinge of red in his cheeks. Actually, I was checking on Nigi, sorry to disappoint, he said, not looking behind him. Nigi Bozu ran off when Maki and Kufei teased him. He went that way, Digazeru said Kid, pointing in the direction. Naruto tried to leave, but she held him with her 2 arms. I haven't thanked you for looking after me. When we fell, Naruto-kun, Digazeru, she said, as Naruto felt her hot breath on his neck. Not that I don't want you to, Kid-chan, but can't we do this after we get out of here, he suggested, not wanting to make a scene. You're no fun, Naruto-kun, Digazeru, she pouted a little. Fine, how about an all-out training session once we get out of here then, would that be okay, he said, getting a Cheshire grin from Kid. That'd you bring the lunch, she said as Naruto realized something. How come I'm bringing lunch when you wanted to thank me, and why the kun? I have no idea what you mean, Naruto-kun, and why don't you like it? She asked. I don't mind at all, just didn't expect it, Digazeru, he said offhandedly. Then I'll continue, Digazeru. The scream was heard by Naruto, knowing it was Asuna's voice. Sorry, Kid-chan, but I think Nigi stumbled upon Asuna-chan bathing. I'd love to stay with your mature body right now, but I got to stop her before she beats Nigi. As he ran off, Kid was left with a large blush on her face from what Naruto had said and couldn't wait until they got out now. Naruto found a naked Asuna straddling Nigi with their lips close together. Now Naruto, despite being mature, couldn't resist. Nigi, I know you're 10, but most boys turn 13 before getting interested in girls, he grinned as Nigi's beet red face. Honestly, you're worse than Hirosenin. Naruto, this isn't what it looks like. Asuna-san just fell, he tried to defend as he separated from the girl. Naruto tossed a towel on the side to Asuna, who quicker than would seem possible wrapped it round herself. You two okay then? He asked, getting small nods from the two. Come on, you two, or I'll have to tell Ayaka-chan that she has competition for Nigi, he joked, getting an angry expression from Asuna. It's not like that, she shouted, trying to punch him as he dodged and held her arm. Please don't try and hurt the teacher, Asuna-chan, he told her, lowering her arm, smiling. Hi. The three turned around to see Konoha running towards them. What is it, Konoha? Asuna asked. We've got trouble. Konoha said as she led them to where Kid and the others were at. When they got there, it was to see Maki being held in the large hand of the golem with a hammer. Somebody help. Maki shouted as she tried to get free. Nigi-kun, Naruto-kun, Asuna-san. She cried out. That giant's back again, Asuna shouted with wide eyes. It's a golem, Asuna-san. Nigi corrected, it must have fallen down with us. The golem waved his fist, shacking Maki, who continued to scream for help. Nigi tried to cast a spell only to find his magic was still sealed off, so Naruto quickly sped up to the golem. Dueri pretiusum flet un vente. Flan saltatio pulveria. He whispered as a powerful wind blew in front of him, knocking the golem off balance, and it threw Maki into the air. Kid caught her while she was in midair, and Maki, using her ribbon, managed to get the magic book that was in the crook of the golem's neck and bring it to her. We've got the magic book, she shouted as she held onto the book. The group began running away from the golem. Let's look for a shortcut back to the surface while he's confused, said Yu, as Kufei went up to Naruto. Naruto-sensei, how did you knock that thing over, Eru? She asked. Really good punch, he lied, but in all honesty it might as well have been Flan saltatio pulveria was a good knockback wind spell that is used with his chakra could slice too. Kufei accepted the excuse before asking, do you mind sparring with me if you can punch like that when we get out, Naruto-sensei? Eru. Sorry Kufei, I'm training with Naruto-kun. When we get out, you'll have to wait, Digazeru said, Kid next to Naruto smirking as the martial artist pouted. The group soon ran down a corridor as they tried to look for a shortcut. Naruto was keeping pace with Konoha, who was in the front. They ended up finding a door that had an English translation question that needed to be answered before you could go through. After Kufei opened it, they ran in and came across a very large spiral staircase. What is this, a spiral staircase? Asuna shouted, can we even climb this? Asked Konoha as she tried to see how high it went. They quickly began running up the stairs as the golem crashed through the wall. "This is harder than training at the club," said Maki. "Really feels like a light jog to me," said Naruto. "Get a nod from Kufei and Kid, both dressed now. That persistent statue is still chasing us," said Niki. "It's futile, you'd better give back that book back," said the golem. Began chasing them up the stairs. "We're never gonna give it back, Eru," said Kufei, pulling her eyelid as the group was stopped by a stone block again. "Another wall with a question, and it's math this time," shouted Asuna as you read out the question. "It says question 2. What is the value of x in the diagram below?" The golem got closer. "It's coming," said Kanoka. "Let me do it," said Nigi as Kid answered, holding the book. "X equals 46 degrees. The path opened for them. It opened. "It looks like you were right," said Asuna as they began running. "Good job, Kid-chan," said Naruto beside her. Each time they ran into a door, one of the girls would hold the book and they would get the question right. As they continued running up, however, you tripped on a root and fell. "You-chan." The girls all shouted out. Before anyone could say anything else, Naruto scooped the girl in his arms and took off. "Continue running," Naruto said, ignoring the blushing girl in his arms for the moment. They continued moving up, getting each question right as they climbed higher and higher. None of them paid attention to the golem, who was getting farther and farther away. Finally they made it to the top, where they reached an elevator. Asuna yelled. "Alright, why is there an elevator here?" asked Naruto. "It's an elevator, school Digazeru," Kid answered, making Naruto sweat drop. Everyone crammed into the elevator, with Naruto being in between Asuna and Kid, letting him know just how developed they were for their age. Nigi pressed the button. "Ding, this elevator is overloaded," came a voice. "Not good," muttered Naruto. The girls soon began freaking out as they tried to figure out what to do. The girls soon began coming up with excuses as to why it wouldn't work. Asking each other how much they ate, Naruto shook his head at them. However, it seemed Asuna had a solution. "Everyone drop everything you're holding, even your clothes. Look, if I just put my leg outside, the buzzer stops. All we need to so is lose a little weight," she said as the girls began stripping and Naruto covered his and Nigi's eyes. Despite being in just their unmentionables, the elevator wouldn't shut. "Move, it's no good after all," Eru shouted. "Kufei, I don't have anything left. "The only thing left is," shouted Maki, not wanting to go completely naked. The golem was at the door now. "Ha ho ho, I've got you now," it said as Nigi ran out the elevator. "I'm getting off. Naruto Nai, please take care of the others and take the test tomorrow," he said, looking back. "I will protect my students, because even without magic I am a teacher," he thought as he found himself being thrown back into the left to see Naruto smiling at him. "Sorry Nigi, take care of him, girls." He then showed that he had the book in his hands. "You want this? Come and get it," he smirked as the doors closed and the girls shouted, "Naruto-sensei." He stood opposite the golem in silence for a moment. "All right, Kano-san, enough of the disguise. You do know there are better ways to test someone, right?" he asked, knowing the dean was in the golem. "Ho ho, well done for figuring it out, Naruto-kun. What gave me away?" he asked, knowing the charade was done. "Your laugh is distinctive, but let me just ask you. Spreeks." The Baka Rangers of Class 2 and Nigi managed to get to the class just in time to take the test. Most of the girls were too tired to take it, however. Thankfully Nigi's magic had returned and with a little spell they were able to take the test. The group that went, however, was worried about Naruto, many wondering if he had made it out alive as they had not seen him since they got out. The next day were the day of the results, and Naruto still had yet to show up. However, while many of the girls were curious, it was overshadowed to see how well they did. Nigi and Maki were wearing similar expressions of nervousness. Kufei had several food vouchers that she was using to gamble with. The others in the class were in various states of interest or nervousness. "I hope Naruto Nai is okay," Nigi said, worried for his college. "Don't worry Nigi Bozu, from what I can tell he's stronger than he lets on." Digazeru, she said, smiling, and Nigi nodded positively as he felt sure he was okay. Everyone quieted down as the announcer came up to announce which class had gotten which place. In first place, second year class E, second year class F, with an average of 80. Maki, Asuna and Kufei face faulted at finding out they did not get first place. "I guess too it didn't make it to first place after all," Sakurako said as she placed some food in her mouth. "And I had 50 food vouchers riding on it," she moaned. "I told you it was impossible," Madoka said. "In second place, second year class E," came the announcement. "Yes. Come on," Maki shouted as she held a fist to her face. "Class S with 79.8 points. In 10th place, 2M. It continued listing the rankings. "We're in 10th place already." Ayaka shouted as she Chao, Kazumi, Chizuru and Satomi as the 5 of them watched the event on Chao's computer. At 11th place, 2C. "I'm sorry," Chao said with a sheepish smile. "At least they showed up," Kazumi mused as she spotted the dubbed Baka Rangers in the crowd. "The Heitua hasn't appeared at all," Maki spoke in a worried tone. "See, calm down, there's still 3 more classes to go." Asuna tried to reassure the other girl, though she was not feeling very confident right now. Third last in 22nd place, 2P with 70.8 points. Several of the girls began to freak out, knowing that if they did not get the next place they would be last. Asuna and Kanoka looked over at Nigi with a worried expression. And the second last class, all of class 2A, held their breaths, praying that they would get that place so they could keep their teacher's class K with an average of 69.5. They were last. Nigi became distraught as he ran out of the building. He ended up packing his stuff and getting ready to leave. He knew that class 2 had tried their best, that was all he could ask for, now he was going to have to go back home. Nigi made his way to the train station, where he was about to get on when he was stopped by Asuna. Asuna yelled as she tried to catch up to the child teacher. Nigi turned around as Asuna came up to the entrance gate. I'm really sorry. It was because of us. Because we failed the final exam. Because I threw away the magic book. Because I. No, that's not true, it's no one's fault, Nigi replied as he looked at Asuna. It wasn't right to use something like magic book anyway. In the end I'm still not qualified to be a teacher, he said sadly. Nigi, she muttered. I'd like to thank everyone from the class, Nigi continued, especially you 5. Even though it was for a very short time, I had fun. But you don't want to leave, do you? Came the voice of Naruto as the two spotted him in front of them appearing out of nowhere. You don't have to leave, you know, Nigi, he told the small child. Naruto nai, he said as Asuna got Nigi into a headlock. You idiot, I told you not to go. I was angry at you for doing nothing but stupid childish things. But one thing I admired you for was having a clear goal and trying to achieve it. Nigi stopped struggling and looked at Asuna in shock. Nigi Bozu. The two turned around to see all of class 2 were running towards him. Nigi struggled out of Asuna's grip and ran, not wanting to face his former class like this. He was stopped by Naruto picking him up by his collar as Nigi had forgotten he was there. Nigi, don't embarrass yourself right now, said Naruto as he dropped him the rest of the girls, then spotted him. Naruto-sensei, they shouted as Haruna and Kid went to check on him, while the others tended to Nigi. Nigi-kun, let's go talk with the principal one more time, okay, said Kanoka. Yeah, this is too harsh for a kid like Nigi-kun, fretted Maki. Let's us take the test again, Eru suggested Kufei. Nigi, there's something you should know, Kano-san marked the latecomers' tests and forgot to add them with the rest of Tua, said Naruto as he brought out the results. What the hell? Shouted the girls and Nigi. Then the marks for those 8 people haven't been entered yet, said Kanoka, then maybe just maybe Tua isn't the lowest class. Haruna suggested. But we're the Baka Rangers, will it be enough? Asked Maki as Naruto cleared his throat. Ahem, Maki-chan got a 66. He told her. No way, Maki cheered. Next is Kufei-chan with a 67 and Kid-chan with 63. Naruto tossed the 2 girls a quick smile, causing one to blush and the other to widen her smile. You-chan, you did good despite your nature getting 63, he said with you thinking not good. Aruna-chan was an 81, Nodoka-chan a 95 and Kanoka-chan a 91, so we have no problems there. Naruto turned to Asuna, who was the last one, and finally Asuna-chan, congratulations, you got a 71. He told her, smiling still. Asuna looked stunned for a moment, then. Naruto grinned, that's right, not only did class 2A not get last, class 2A is officially the top scoring class. All of the girls began cheering. Nigi looked stunned, but we didn't even have the magic book. How? Naruto grinned as he held the book. Oh, you mean this? He looked at the stunned Nigi and Asuna. It seems Kano-san wanted to see what we would do in the situation and found out if we could act like teachers by putting the students ahead of ourselves, a no-brainer really. He ruffled Nigi's hair. Well done, Nigi, looks like we're going to be full-time teachers now, and now that I have the position you don't have to call me sensei anymore, he said, getting a what? From the girls. But I'm only like a few years older than you, calling me sensei makes me feel old despite the fact I really am old, he thought the last bit to himself. Is that a problem? He asked as Haruna and Kid walked over. None at all, Naruto-kun, they said, smiling at him. Naruto smiled back and just watched as Nigi got praised by the other students as he congratulated some of the other girls. It was morning in Mihara Academy and most of the students were running to get to class, including Nigi. They were running to catch the closing ceremony where he and Naruto would be introduced for their official positions. What a nice day, commented Nigi as Asuna and Kanoka ran behind him. The perfect weather for the closing ceremony, Asuna said. He greeted the other student as he ran by Chisum, who made no note of greeting him back, although Sakurako said he even remembered the name for someone as boring as Chisum. What a teacher, she said as Chisum got a tick mark. Sheesh, they're not even late, why are they running? Damn brats, she muttered reading her book. They're your age, remember, Chisum-chan, said a voice beside her. She turned to see her white hair. Sensei. Not the point, sensei, and no chan, she said, annoyed at the suffix. Sorry, I'm still calling you Chisum-chan, but you don't have to call me sensei now, he told her while he was reading his manga. She humphed and turned back to her book. So why aren't you running with the rest of them, sensei? He sighed at her stubbornness. Well, one, is there no need, 2, walking is more peaceful and you were walking on your own, so I thought why don't I walk with one of my student, he said, turning the page. She stopped for a moment and blinked a couple times. He turned back to her. Come on Chisum-chan, we don't want to be late, she said back to the girl who then caught up as they walked and read in silence. When they got to the hall, Nigi and Naruto took to the podium with the konoha ho-ho. Everyone, please allow me to introduce someone to you all. From the new year onwards, these two will be official teacher and assistant teacher at the main campus English department. Please welcome Mr. Nigi Springfield and Mr. Naruto Uzumaki, he informed the students and staff who cheered. However, Chisum was thinking what in confusion of a 10-year-old being her full-time teacher now. When they were back in the classroom, and so we hope to see you all next year, said Nigi, bowing lightly, smiling as Naruto sat by the window with Sayo resting on his shoulder. The girls of the class cheered and held up the first place trophy they had won too. Chisum was thinking, how could this have happened? As Ayaka stood up, that's right everyone, this victory shall be sealed in the hearts of Tua for 1,000 years to come. I'm proud to be class president, please continue to look after us Nigi-sensei, she said the last part on one knee. You're all wrong, that brat did nothing, he even skipped class for a day. I mean, is it even okay to have a 10-year-old as a teacher? Naruto seems a more reasonable person to be the teacher and acts professional. This is totally contrary to productivity. What kind of a joke is this? She thought angrily. Fuka then raised her hand. Sensei, I have a suggestion, she said. Yes Naritaki-san? Asked Nigi. Sensei is 10 years old and it's not normal to have a 10-year-old teacher, right? She said with Chisum thinking, I was right, it is true. It must be true what they say about having twice the clarity of vision. And so Fumika and I have been thinking, so why don't we have a topping the school celebration party today? The twin suggested, making Chisum slam her head into the desk as the other girls cheered. That had absolutely nothing to do with what you were saying before. Why is everyone celebrating? This damn class just drags me along all the time, she thought, silently fuming. Nigi noticed and went over to her as she shook with rage. What's wrong Hasegawa-san? Are you cold? He asked. She forced a small smile. No, not really, my stomach hurts, I'm going back to the dorm, she said, leaving the classroom. Nigi was about to after her, but Naruto held his shoulder. Nigi, I'll talk to her, you take care of the class, he told him as he nodded. As she walked back, all Chisum could think was this class is too damn weird. Even in the first year there's all these exchange students coming in one after the other. Underage ones at that, like we're some big preschool. And what the hell is with that robot? Why doesn't anyone else find it strange? And that childish teacher, he's 10 years old. This sucks, where did my normal school life go? She shouted out, thankfully no one was around. Chisum-chan called a voice. She looked back to see Naruto walking toward her. Great, the one who seems normal but will probably end up being the weirdest of them all, she thought. What do you want? She asked. I heard you didn't feel too well and we're heading back to the dorms and decided to escort you back. I have some herbal remedies if you'd like, he said with a small smile. That's alright, it's gone now, she said with a hint of red in her cheeks for his concern for her. So why aren't you coming to the party, Chisum-chan? He asked as they walked. I try not to surround myself with weird people, she answered back. Well, I guess the class is a little different, but I think I makes it unique, besides normality can get dull at times, he said with her thinking, at least he knows it's weird, the brat would think it was normal. She started trembling again from the anger. Chisum-chan, are you okay? He asked. I'm fine, she said, wanting to get back to her room. She ran in her room, slamming the door behind her. This isn't a normal school life, and I'm going to sing to the public about this ridiculous school, she fumed as she put on makeup and began changing her clothes. I'm going to show that damn brat what being loved is all about, she continued as she became her alter ego. Alright, Chu is pretty as ever, Pio, she said as she checked her homepage. Hello, how is everyone doing? Something really annoying happened today. We've got some hentai teaching the class, and all he does is peep on me. The other assistant is smarter, but gets no credit for his work, she typed down. The comments she got asked if they should take care of it and saying she was the prettiest of all net idols. Thank you everyone, and as thanks I'll let you see my new costume, she said as she took photos in a sailor suit and a bunny suit. Just an ordinary schoolgirl, but behind that innocent face is the #1 super hacker idol who rules the internet. I take photos of myself with a digital camera and fix them up my skin with Photoshop. And then upload the photos via FTP. Take a good look at my beauty, boys, she explained her other side to herself. Out of all the net idols I'm ranked first by far. I'm the queen, the one with the most charisma out of everyone in the net world. All the boys will bow before me, she said to herself very happily, not noticing someone behind her. She then felt something was off and looked behind her to see Naruto with a pair of wolf ears on his head and a tail behind him. Sorry, the door was open, he said, rubbing the back of his head. Did he see me? My secret? It's over. Once my secret hobby is discovered by the others, the school will be pointing behind my back and laughing. I've got to get rid of him quick. I need something blunt, she thought as Naruto looked at some of the photos on the computer. Naruto had been taught about computers by using the old shadow clone memory trick and asking the smartest person in class. Chow and was capable with one of the machines now, although it took no longer than learning magic really. Chisum-chan, you look very beautiful in these pictures, he said as Chisum came behind him holding a large carrot prop. She blushed and turned her head, not facing him, not yet questioning the ears and tail. Of course, why do you think I am? I'm the #1 idol on the net after all. And of course it was me who did all the complex image editing on it too, she thought to herself, and Naruto took her glasses to get a better look at her face. Though to be honest, you look better without makeup, and you have very nice eyes, he commented as she blushed before her mind registered something. Wait, what's with the ears and tail? She asked. Cosplay, was his response. What you know about cosplay? She asked as he nodded. What, to head outside to talk about it, Chisum-chan? He asked. We can talk while the rest of the class is having a party on the lawn, seems a shame to keep a pretty girl inside on such a nice day. And if you don't, I'm walking off with your glasses. I'll be outside while you get changed and I take off these for the party, he said, chuckling at the last part with a mock threat. She nodded and said to wait for him outside the room. He didn't have to wait long for her to come out in her uniform, him still holding her glasses. Now come on, let's join up with the rest of the class, he said as he walked off. Hey, give me back my glasses, she said as he jogged away. She chased him until he got to the cherry tree on the hill where everyone else was enjoying themselves. Here's your glasses, Chisum-chan, he said, handing them to her. Why didn't you give them me when I came out the room? She asked. To make sure you didn't run back into the room, and I think you look nice without them, he said. They walked closer to the class. He didn't notice the large blush she had on. Sorry, we're late, Naruto shouted to the class. Hey, sensei, you brought a cute girl with you, said Sakurako, as Chisum had tied her hair back or put on her glasses yet. Don't tell us she's a secret girlfriend, sensei, said Madoka. He shook his head, chuckling. No, this is Chisum-chan. I convinced her to join us. And please just call me Naruto, sensei makes me feel old, he said to her and the others. Bhhhh, that's Chisum-chan, said Sakurako, shocked at how the plain girl could look so pretty. To prove the point, Chisum put her glasses on and everyone was surprised at the hidden beauty of the girl. As the other girls went to chat with her, Naruto leaned against a tree, letting the wind blow his hair. As Zazie stood next to him, she said to him. I know, it is good she's here and talking with the others. But also I think she trusts me a little and will try and talk with me from time to time, he replied to the girl's comment. She asked. He scratched his nose. Well, when I stumbled upon the website I recognized her, so I confronted her slightly, not leaving any indication I knew, he answered. She said with a slight smile. I know, I try my best, he replied, smiling as he unsealed some of his food he had earlier. Want some? He asked as she nodded and accepted the food. He looked back at Chisum, who was smiling, albeit a little nervous. She'll be part of the class in no time, he said with Zazie nodding. Chisum looked over to Naruto, who smiled at her and nodded. He read her lips as she mouthed, thank you, Naruto. Breeks. It was the weekend and Naruto was currently in the mountains in a black guy, his hair braided, dodging kunai and shuriken thrown by Kid. He had been judging her skills as he fought against her. She had tried a frontal assault with her clones, but Naruto, a master of clones, was capable of fighting off large numbers. He had judged her to be about high Chunin level with her battle skills, but he had learned that instead of chakra she used Kai, pure physical energy, in her attacks. Also, her shadow clones could take a few more hits than his could, but she didn't learn what they learned when they dispelled. He ducked under a kick and hit her with a strong palm attack, pushing her into a tree, where she dispelled, meaning she was a clone. A kunai span round him and tied him to the tree behind him, and he noticed that the chain was covered in exploding notes that quickly went off. D10 came out of her hidden position, worried that her Bakusa Baku engine had seriously injured the assistant teacher. You forgot to watch your back, Kid-chan, said the voice of Naruto behind her as she felt him kick her hard and she fell to the floor. You're really good, Naruto-kun, but I thought we were testing you, not me, Digazeru, she said in between breaths as she was quite tired from the spar, whereas her training partner didn't even look out of breath. He picked her up bridal style, electing a blush from the girl, and carried her back to their campsite. Maybe, but I can tell you are really skilled yourself, Kid-chan. I had to switch with a clone when you tried to bind me to the tree. When they arrived, he set her down and sat behind her while he massaged her shoulders to ease her muscles. Where did you learn this, Naruto-kun, Digazeru? She asked, enjoying the feeling of his fingers. He smirked at her reaction. Just one of my many talents, Kid-chan, and it seems it's a good one based on your reactions, as she moaned slightly into the massage and leaned back so he could massage more of her aching limbs. After a while he heard a light snore and noticed that Kid had fallen asleep, so he sit her down on her bed in the tent and went to train on his own by the waterfall. Kid woke up an hour later and could hear the sounds of fighting. She quickly moved in the direction of the sounds and found Naruto, who had his ears and tails out, fighting off 30 clones of himself on the water. She was amazed at his skill, dodging and parrying the strikes aimed for him, using his tails in combinations with his fists and kicks. He then waved his arms out as a massive wind picked up and sliced all the clones in half. After that he seemed out of breath. Must have been a powerful move. He was drenched in sweat so took off the guy which left him just a pair of boxers before moving under the waterfall, where he began to wash off the sweat. Keed felt herself staring at his abs and chest more as the water washed over them. However, she started to take note of just how many scars he had, more than you'd expect for someone his age. Some of them looked very old and some a lot larger than others. One by one, the left side of his chest, where his lung would be, looked about the size of a fist, then one of a small size near his heart. Enjoying the show, he shouted out, and Keed realized she'd been spotted as she jumped down to the edge of the water. Would be lying if I said I didn't. Digazera, she smirked while blushing. He laughed as he walked back to the side and shook his tails of the excess water, with Keed mumbling cute as he then shook off the water from his hair, now freed from its braid. The only problem with hair like this is washing it, but I like it, she said, earning a giggle from Keed. So what did you think of my skills then? He asked. She smiled. From what I've seen, way above my level with you fighting style, and adding your tails into it shows that you can adapt easily. You also show the ability to use the elements to your whim. How do you do that, Digazeru? She asked. Something I earned from my family, he said, remembering the sage giving him the power to bend the elements. She opened an eye to this statement before shrugging it off and offering him his guy, which he put back on. The two of them later at night were eating some fish that the two had caught, silently enjoying the warmth of the fire. "Ah no, Naruto-kun, can I ask about those scars on your body?" Digazeru said, Keed a little nervous over the question. "Which one?" he asked back. "The one where your lung would be the one that has an exist wound on the other side," she answered. He sighed before running a hand through his hair. He figured someone would ask, and he honestly expected Zazie to ask first. "What you have to understand, Keed-chan, that where I came from was a ninja village. I was once part of a team with 3 others, my sensei and 2 teammates. One of them is the reason for the scar. You see, he was a self-proclaimed avenger wanting power for revenge. When I was growing up I saw something in him that was similar to me. I saw the signs of loneliness, but he chose to seclude himself from others and focus on power. Eventually, when I started improving my skills, he got jealous that he wasn't getting better and so went after power in the worst way possible, betraying his village and comrades. I tried to convince him, but he wouldn't stop in his quest for revenge, so much though that he ripped his arm through my torso as a result of this. He wanted to sever all bonds with the village. I still pity him for what he did, and what he later became nothing but a being of rage and anger. This scar is a reminder that the mistake I made in holding back on him and letting him go," he finished explaining as Keed hugged him. "Sorry for making you remember, Naruto-kun," Digazeru, she said sadly, and gasped as Naruto's arms hugged back. "It's alright, Keed-chan, it's just a memory. It's not a good memory, but I'm fine. Now smile, a frown doesn't suit your pretty face," he said as he tickled her, and they both fell over laughing. They both enjoyed the rest of their time training in the mountains, and Keed felt a little closer to her sensei now and was happy. "Breeks. It's such a nice day," Nigi said, strolling along the sidewalk, "the perfect day for an outing." Naruto chuckled. "It is, isn't it?" he said, looking over at the 2 others with him. "Asuna and Kanoka Yuto okay today?" he asked. "Yeah, we're fine, Naruto, but why are you here again?" she asked. "Nigi asked for me to come," was his response. "It's not a problem, is it?" "No, Naruto-kun, it's no problem at all, just a little unexpected," said Kanoka, smiling as they came up to the house. "This house is sure big," Nigi commented as he looked at the mansion he was walking to in awe. "It's like a castle." Naruto looked at the castle and had to agree that it was pretty big, but something that size must be lonely at times. Nigi-sensei, Naruto and the others turned to see Ayaka walking towards them in a very nice and expensive-looking dress. Ayaka waved at Nigi as she ran towards them. "Welcome. Thanks for coming." She stopped when she saw the other 3 with Nigi and fell over. "Hello, Ayaka-chan," greeted Naruto, smiling, as did Kanoka. "What's with you?" asked Asuna with crossed arms. "Don't fall all over the place so early in the morning, Iincho-san," she continued. "Why is Asuna coming along on a home visit?" asked Ayaka with an annoyed look on her face. She didn't mind Naruto, but she wanted to have some time alone with Nigi. "Calm down," Kanoka said, trying to calm the girl down. "And what about you? Why are you dressed like that?" she asked. "I'm his guardian," Asuna replied to the earlier question before placing a hand on Nigi's head. "If I let this guy go by himself, who knows what you might do to him." "Arg, I'll kill you," Ayaka shouted as she tried to kick Asuna, who looked ready to fight back. Both were stopped before a full fight could break out by Naruto holding Ayaka's leg and Asuna's arm. "Ayaka-chan, Asuna-chan, please don't fight," he said as he let go of their limbs. "Wow, what a big garden," commented Nigi, looking around, seeing a lake with a large fountain in it. "It doesn't stop here, this is just the front garden," said Ayaka, smiling to her sensei. "Well then, sensei, why did you decide to visit me today?" Because today is," Nigi began to say, but noticed that Asuna was shaking her hands in front of her face, which Naruto spotted, but she sent him a look, saying don't ask. Nigi looked back at Ayaka. "Oh no, I wanted to get along with the president of our class a bit better, so." Ayaka's face lit up with a very large smile that had her eyes sparkling. Naruto chuckled at the girl's reaction, and she clapped her hands together. Well I'm so overwhelmed with happiness, Nigi-sensei. So happy I'm feeling dizzy, she said, pretending to sway with her hand on her head. She then pulled Nigi close and ran a hand over his head. I completely understand. I won't bother taking it slow with Nigi-sensei anymore. If it's alright, we can head into a deeper relationship right now. Naruto was making note of the scene, thinking that it would be a nice romantic scene with alterations. She definitely know what she wants, he commentated as Asuna shook her head and ran after the two as they were walking off. Ayaka began showing them mainly Nigi around the house, and the first place was her bedroom. This is my room, Ayaka said, gesturing to her room. Nigi and Naruto were surprised by the size of it, but Naruto was interested in the different style of design the room had. He joined Asuna on the veranda. The view hasn't a bit since we were in primary school, has it? Said Konoha. Please be careful with Asuna on the veranda, Naruto-sensei, said Ayaka, before turning back to Nigi, smiling. Nigi-sensei, you like herbal tea, don't you? Ah, yes, how did you know? Asked Nigi as Ayaka snapped her fingers and a butler and maid came in with several types of tea. I've obtained teas from several different plantations, please have whichever you like, she told him as he picked out a flavor. May I try some, Ayaka-chan? Asked Naruto, to which he nodded and took the one labeled Earl Grey and blue on it before taking a sip. Quite nice, he thought. There's also plenty of desserts here, sensei, said Ayaka, snapping her fingers again as maids rushed in with trays filled with cakes. Hey, you're overdoing it here, shouted Asuna. This is delicious, Iencho-san. I love herbal tea because One-chan always used to make them for me, said Nigi, smiling as he took a sip of his tea. You have an older sister? Asked Ayaka with a strange expression that Naruto recognized. He asked later. Okay, let's leave this rich idiot on her own so we can go take a swim. We came all this way after all, said Asuna as she began walking away. There's a pool here, Nigi-kun, said Konoha. Yeah, really? That's amazing, he replied as he walked out with the others. Just a minute, I still have more things to show you, Nigi-sensei, Ayaka said, trying to stop them as they left the room. I think it's best we follow them, Ayaka-chan, said Naruto, holding the door for her, I guess. Naruto and the others made their way into a large pool area. Walking over to one of the shower rooms, the blonde changed into a pair of black swim trunks. He walked out and he saw the three girls come out. Asuna and Konoha were wearing a one-piece bathing suit while Ayaka was wearing a two-piece bikini. Naruto had to admit that Ayaka was a beautiful looking girl and Nigi is very lucky for her to like him, he thought, smiling. Asuna and Konoha jumped straight into the pool, with Naruto walking in via the stairs. Nigi-kun, Iencho-san, want to race, asked Konoha as Ayaka shook her head. No thank you, Asuna is as fast as a kappa. I'll race if you don't mind, said Naruto, earing a grin from Asuna. Well, then prepare to lose, Naruto, she said, confident as she got ready to race. Naruto got next to her. No thanks, Asuna-chan, I think I'd rather win, he said. And win he did, only to have Asuna accusing him of cheating before splashing him, to which he responded with his own splashing that Konoha joined in with. The three played while Naruto was listening in on Ayaka and Nigi's conversation. So you two have been friends since primary school, said Nigi, who would be friends with her. We're enemies, she shouted slightly. Our interests clashed, we tried to sabotage each other at sports carnivals. We've fought all the way during the last 7 years like we were natural enemies, she explained. Nigi nodded, turned and looked out the window. That room, does it belong to your little sister? It's full of toys, he asked, and Naruto saw the fake smile on her face. He talked to her before he left. That room, it doesn't belong to anyone. More importantly, Nigi-sensei, would you like one of my cookies? Homemade, she asked. They look delicious, I love cookies, said Nigi happily as he took one. They're delicious, these are nice too. They're very crunchy. Here, have some more tea. I cultivated these herbs myself, so I don't know how it tastes, she said to Nigi. You made this, Iencho-san? Wow, that's amazing, replied Nigi as Ayaka just watched him. I'm eating these all by myself, would you like to have some tea too? Asked Nigi when he saw Ayaka wasn't eating. She just smiled and leaned on the table. Nigi-sensei. She said yes, what is it? He asked. She smiled and took Nigi's head in between her breasts as she gave him a hug, slightly suffocating him. Nigi-sensei, can I be your big sister instead, she asked. Naruto looked at the two with a small smile, thinking it was sweet, while Asuna looked annoyed at what she was seeing. Hey you Shotokan girl, Asuna shouted as she kicked Ayaka. You've really done it this time, Asuna-san, she said, rubbing her face. The two went to fight again, but were again stopped by Naruto before the first hit could be made. Girls, please be nice, he said, pulling Ayaka away. Arg, that's it, you've really made me mad now. Ayaka started shouting, get off my property and go home. Okay, I get it, I'm leaving, Asuna said as she began walking off. Asuna-san, Nigi tried to stop her. It's okay, they're always like this, said Konoha as Asuna turned to him. Nigi, it's all up to you and Naruto from here. Iencho-san, sorry about calling you a Shotokan girl, I take it back for today. I'm sorry, Asuna apologized as she and Kanoka walked off. I'm sorry Nigi-sensei, Naruto-sensei, that was unseemly behavior, she said, feeling bad about what she said to Asuna. It's just that my relationship with Asuna-san is really, really bad. All we ever seem to do is fight. That's not true, shouted Nigi. Asuna-san said to me that we should come to cheer you up. I called Naruto Nai because I think he could help. But she was the one who asked me to come and see you. You had a little brother, didn't you? One about my age. Ayaka then remembered how she had been so happy to hear she would have a little brother. Sadly, there were complications with the birth and Ayaka never got to see him. She was very sad, but Asuna managed to make her mad and she ended up chasing her, forgetting about being sad. I see, today was my little brother's birthday. She remembered everything ever since we were children, that girl, she said with a small smile. She's a violent, lawless, unbelievable classmate, she said with tears in her eyes. Nigi, go get changed, I'd like to talk with Ayaka-chan alone for a minute, please. Nigi nodded and went to get changed. Naruto made sure he was gone. You're a very strong girl, Ayaka-chan, I can tell. It must hurt losing a member of family before you meet them, he commented as she wiped the tears away. Yes, but I had to grow up and live, but not forget him, she replied. I know, when I woke up I had discovered everyone I considered family was long gone, and I can tell looking at you that you are still quite sad about it. But it's a sadness that sometimes friends can't help with, not even Asuna-chan. If you'd like you could see me like a big brother like Nigi does, he suggested. She was shocked at what he suggested. What do you mean? She asked. Although you may want to see Nigi as a little brother, I can tell you see him for more than that, and having me as an older brother means I can talk to you about things he doesn't know or understand. It's so you can talk to me about absolutely anything when you feel lonely, is that alright? Ayaka stared at him with a hopeful expression. Do you mean it? The question was answered by Naruto nodding and him opening his arms for a hug. She shot into holding on tight. Thank you, Naruto-sensei, thank you, she sobbed slightly into his chest as he rubbed her back. You can call me Naruto Nai if you'd like. Now dry those tears before Nigi gets back, he said, wiping the girl's face of tears. They spent the rest of the day with Nigi acting as a little brother for the three of them until it was time to say goodbye, where she hugged the two boys and Naruto said she was free to drop by his dorm room if she ever needed to, which got a smile from the girls as she waved goodbye to her Ani-chan. Breaks. It was the start of a new year of school at Mihara Academy, and Naruto, Zazie and Sayo were all waiting in the classroom, Zazie and Naruto having teleported today to escape the rush of the bus. Naruto had heard that Nigi had been discovered that he was looking for a partner for Minister Magi, but the students had confused this for him looking for a girlfriend. He silently thanked Kami for not letting them know he was looking for one too. He already had enough students giving stars at the best of time, and who knows what would happen if people found out about him owning the rights to Icha. Haruna was the only one who knew at the moment and was giving good feedback for the notes he had. The class started filing and sending waves and smiles to him while he read his manga before class started, with Sayo reading with him. She oddly enough liked the Bleach series. He watched, chuckling a little as the class bar a few cheered for the new year. I'm the formal teacher for the third year class A. My name is Nigi Springfield. I'll be your teacher from here until March next year, and it will be a pleasure teaching you all. Naruto then stood up. Good morning and welcome back, class. As you know, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, the assistant teacher. Please feel free to ask when you need help, and I look forward to a good year with you all. Naruto took note of one student staring at Nigi. Evangeline A.K. McDowell, strange name for a Japanese school, sounds English. Wait, Scottish. Wonder why she's so interested in Nigi, he thought to himself as there was a knock at the door. Shizuna walked into the room. Nigi-sensei, Naruto-sensei, today is the school health checkup, please tell everyone in 3A to prepare accordingly, she told him. Ah, that's right, is it here? Understood, Shizuna-sensei. He then turned to the class. Well then everyone, we're having a health check. Oh, so are everyone, please prepare to take off your clothes, said Nigi, waving his arms, not realizing what he was saying. All the girls in the room blushed and Naruto chuckled at his colleague's words before waking out the room. Nigi-sensei is so eki, the class shouted as he ran out the room. That's not what I meant, he shouted back to the class. You really need to think before you speak, Nigi, said Naruto, leaning against the wall. Then again, no one is perfect, so you can make a few mistakes, he said, ruffling the boy's hair. Thanks, Naruto Nai, and I'm going to do my senseis, shouted Eiko as she ran down the hall to them with a worried expression. Sensei, we've got a problem. Maki is. Naruto was about to ask Eiko, but the door and windows of 3 opened up, revealing all the girls in their underwear, and Naruto found himself going very red, seeing the mature bodies of several of the students, but turned his head away from the sight. Eiko-chan, lead us there please, said Naruto, wanting to get away from the embarrassing position he was in. Uruna had spotted his face as he left and would be sure to tease him about it later as Nigi, Naruto and Eiko ran to the nurse's office. In the office, Maki was lying on the bed a little pale. What happened to Maki-san? Asked Nigi. It seems she was found sleeping in Sakura Lane, said Shizuna as Naruto thought guess you were remembered slightly Sakura remembering his pink-haired friend. Sakura Lane mumbled Nigi holding his chin in thought before he moved over to the side of her bed where he noticed a faint magic signature as did Naruto who was better at sensing, but it wasn't strong enough for him to track. What could this mean? Is there another person here other than me and Naruto Nai that can use magic? Before he could continue his theory Asuna spoke to Nigi. What's the problem Nigi? Why did you get all quiet, you too Naruto? She asked. It's nothing Asuna-chan Maki probably just exercised too much in her gymnastics and fell asleep afterward he said to her to ease her worry. Asuna-san I will be home late tonight so I won't be eating dinner, Nigi informed his roommate thinking it was a good idea to have a steak out. Breeks. Madoka, Yu, Haruna, Asuna and Kanoka were all walking back to their dorms after school, making their way past Sakura Lane. I wonder if a vampire really will appear. Haruna wondered out loud. A rumor like that has to fake, Asuna said, not believing that such a thing as a vampire would appear at Mahara despite already knowing two mages. You're right, Nadoka said as she tried to convince herself that there was no vampire, especially since she had to take this route, since she had a late meeting for the library expeditionary club that as head of, she had to prepare for. Well, I'm going home first, Nadoka, Haruna said as she waved to the girl. Alright Nadoka said as she waved back, turning her attention to the empty street, Sakura Lane. The timid bookworm shook her head as she began walking down the street, watching as paper blew by her from the breeze. The wind sure is strong today, she said out loud, mostly to keep herself from feeling frightened. I'd better hurry along. She continued walking. Humming the mantra I'm not scared to herself in a soft sing-song voice. As she continued walking she stopped and gasped. Standing on a light post a little ways away was a cloaked figure. Seat number 27, Miyazaki Nadoka isn't it? The figure asked in a slight British accent, sorry, but I'll be taking some of that blood of yours. The figure leapt off the light post, lunging towards Nadoka. Kaya Nadoka screamed and fainted from fright. Had she stayed awake a while longer she would have heard Nigi's shout. Hold it right there. Nigi shot towards the cloaked figure on his broom. Rastal mas Sir Magister undecim spiritus aerials, vinculum facti imicum captain sigita magica air capturi he said as the arrows of wind flew from his hand. The cloak figure took out a couple vials he's worked it out already. Reflexio she muttered as the magic arrows were deflected. She deflected all my spells he said in surprise there's no mistaking it, the culprit is a mage. Nigi ran over to check on Nadoka before turning back to the mage, whose hat had been blown off revealing her face. Hey you're from my class Evangeline-san he said in surprise. Evangeline laughed it's the beginning of the term after all, so let's exchange formal greetings sensei. Or should I say Nigi Springfield. She then licked the blood on her fingers to have such power, despite only being 10 it's just what I expect from that man's son. You do realize I could attack you by no said a voice behind Evangeline and she turned to see the assistant teacher Naruto Uzumaki behind her when did he even get behind me she thought in shock. Also Nigi is as strong as he is because he is a hard worker who earns his power, he said with a small grin, twisting a ring he had on that was for casting spells that he obtained from the dean for the next book of Icha. Naruto Nai, you're here shouted Nigi in relief well you like me Nigi and you attract trouble after a while trust me he told him. Evangeline got angry for being ignored foe threw 2 vials at Nigi and Nadoka freeze lance. Nigi countered by casting Frigeran's Exermatio, which stopped the spell from doing any serious damage unless you count Nadoka's clothes that were now shredded. Naruto frowned at her attack and released a small amount of intent don't do that again Eva-chan he said too sweetly. Nigi noticed the situation with his student Miyazaki-san, are you alright? He asked with a red face. What was that sound just now said a voice Nigi, Naruto shouted as soon as spotting them. Ah, Nigi-kun is the vampire shouted Kanoka and Naruto held back a chuckle. Ah, no this is a misunderstanding he shouted and then looked back to Evangeline to find she was gone while he and Naruto had been distracted by Asuna and Kanoka wait, he shouted running after her. He wasn't that. Said Asuna before Naruto quickly put Nadoka next to her and Kanoka Asuna-chan, Kanoka-chan me and Nigi have something important to do, please look after Nadoka-chan he said, getting a nod from Kanoka before he ran after Nigi and Evangeline. He caught up to see Nigi on his broom and Eva flying without aid, but before he could join Nigi on the chase fully he was knocked to the side by a small explosion. He looked at where the explosion could have come from to see Anther of his students, Chachimaru Karakuri, who had green hair and strange antennae where her ears should be. Naruto had been told that she was a robot and advanced puppet by Chao in the class. Naruto-sensei she said in a monotone voice Chachimaru-chan, what are you doing here I'm kind of busy unless you're a part of this here isn't. I am sorry Naruto-sensei, but I can't let you help Nigi-sensei at the moment she bowed and apologized. Ta-chan, can I call you Cha-chan you work with Eva-chan don't you? He asked the girl, "Hi, Naruto-sensei, and do not mind the nickname, but ask why you suggest a nickname." She replied. "Shortens your name but is still cute," he answered, but didn't get any response except a small nod. "But I must ask Cha-chan, how are you going to stop me?" "Like so," she said, aiming one of her cannon arms and blasting him before he had time to respond. What if Naruto was a wolf ninja of Konoha? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.